between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road while traveling. In Lanseria, some delays reported on the N14 south towards the Beyersnodie Drive exit. Please be on the lookout there.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures have peaked at highs between 24 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana has welcomed the Western Cape High Court ruling, which has officially suspended the VAT increase.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
You're on 702, 6 after 9. Welcome to it. Thabo in for Clement. We're together till 12. Thanks for joining us on this special day. It's the 28th of April, and Freedom Day falls on this day, given that it was on, the holiday fell on Sunday, so as is practice in South Africa. If that's the case, Monday becomes a public holiday. Happy Freedom Day, and I'm just wondering, where were you in 1994 on a day like this? Snaking queues, you remember them? Everyone happy, looking for their ID books to go and vote. Judge Krechler heading that complex process of 1994. No registration, chaotic scenes playing themselves out as South Africans, all South Africans had an opportunity to go and vote for the very first time. Well, by that I mean black South Africans mainly, because the way elections taken place in the country, and I don't need to re-educate you about our history, black South Africans were disenfranchised. So for many millions of us, it was an exciting day to go and decide on whom you'd like to have as a leader of your country. So that marks Freedom Day. And a couple of days later, the elections results came through. The ANC was just over 60%, and everyone else was excited. The euphoria and also the fears, let alone the excitement and the jubilations. There were fears. People were just storing tons and tons of baked beans, toilet rolls, and everything else that you could store, because there was this myth that we are going to see bloodshed, chaos unfolding, and people shooting each other. And it didn't turn out that way, thank goodness. And here we are today, arguing about very important things such as VAT. The judiciary is firm, the legislature is there, the executive is also standing, and all three arms of the state can argue with each other vehemently without things falling apart. Yes, we can call each other names, insult each other over and up, but we're not doing that bad. We're not doing that badly, I'd like to believe. Yes, we have a long way to go. There's so much that we need to improve. The levels of poverty, inequality, joblessness, scary levels of joblessness in this country. And having said that, it is still better than what it was. Yes, it's not what it ought to be, what it should be. It is 100 times, if not more, better than what it used to be. Moving away from that institutionalized discrimination that was rubber stamped by the laws of the country. So it's Freedom Day. I don't know what it means to you. Feel free to give us a shout, and it's an open line from now up until 10 o'clock. So whatever is on your mind on this beautiful day. And I know many of you may not be driving because you're not stuck in traffic going to work. You could be listening from your headphones. It could be that you are at work like I am on a public holiday, and it's a labor of love for you and me. Yes, indeed it is. So feel free to interact with us on the open line about 10,000 things that may be on your mind. I don't like restricting you to a number of topics, because I think an open line gives us an opportunity to hear from you about what's happening in your world, in your corner of the world. I truly want to know about that, because there are problems that are specific to geographical areas. It could be that where you are, you haven't had water for the past 8 months. I don't know. Electricity is giving you problems. Crime is rife in your neck of the woods. It could be that where you are, where you work, there's still discrimination, and you're saying, Thabo, what are you talking about that we are free today? There are a number of things that you may want to ventilate with us, but feel free to touch on anything, because it is an open line. The number to dial, 011-883-0702, 011-883-0702. Alternatively, send a brief and a very pointed voice note to 072-702-1702, 072-702-1702 about anything else that is on your mind. To that very same number, you can also send a text message, by the way. So the show is yours, and it has been structured by the producers to be yours and to have that particular outlook, just to give you a hint of what's coming up. But before that, just also as a reminder of the open line on anything else that you'd like to touch on, I want to posit one or two things in your memory bank today, especially on the open line. I'm getting worried about the number. I don't watch too much TV, I must concede, so feel free to correct me at any point, and I'll take that correction. On social media, I am somehow exposed, or my timeline is exposed to various, what should I call them? Those reality shows that are very disturbing in nature, where pseudo presenters and pseudo broadcasters on social media, podcasters, and I'm not saying everyone, by the way, I'm not criticizing everyone. And if the shoe fits, listen, take a chance, go for it. And I'm not criticizing anyone, every single person, by the way. But there are those that need a bit scrutiny. On Freedom Day, I would like to hear from you if we should not restrict such individuals from having a phone and a huge following, because they are literally killing society. There's one that I've seen of recent of a guy who catches out people who are cheating, couples who are cheating through infidelity and unfaithfulness in their relationships. And he makes them fight with each other after exposing the shenanigans on the phone and telling the other partner that their spouse has been texting whoever and exposing them to various pictures on the phone. And he just leaves them there at the end. People are psychologically scarred. People are broken. Relationships need some sort of mending, if that at all. But he just leaves them. He laughs and criticizes them, insults them, and it's just pure entertainment. There could be children involved. These people are drawn onto a public platform, lured into a public platform under the false guise of an interview. And when they get to that platform, then a rug is pulled under their feet and they fall flat on their faces. And there's no mechanism of mitigating that pain and that hurt that they may have suffered. You may know one or two, and I don't think that such people deserve a platform. Yes, people laugh, they applaud, and it's pure entertainment to us who are watching. But what about those individuals whose rights are literally trampled upon by these fame-seeking idiots with phones and access to social media? That's one. Another one that really gets me going. He's popularly known as Mr. Moloto. And he is a gentleman who hides behind a camera. And he brings his army of bouncers, and they go to your home if you complain about your child, your son, your nephew, or anyone else who's a drug addict. And they come to your home, they interview this person, humiliate them, and then drag them with their pants into a vehicle and force them to rehabilitation. I'm not talking about 12-year-olds who are being exposed to. I'm talking about 27-year-olds, 30-year-old guys who have their rights literally transgressed in full view of everyone, and no one says anything. The cops are not interested. Yes, there is a big problem with nyaupe and all sorts of drugs in our country, where our youth are literally swimming in the pool of destruction because of these drugs. I agree and I concede to that. I'm questioning Mr. Moloto's methods. Maybe he'll send his bouncers to come and beat me up and sort me out. That's fine. But someone ought to stand up and say, "Awa, it shouldn't be that way. Here is your camera. I didn't give consent to be on camera to start off with. And the man is, or the lady is humiliated. Mr. Moloto has got no idea of what counseling is or dealing with drug addicts is. He uses just the power and might of his sword to come and sow destruction. That's all that he uses. I shudder to think what happens in that farm. If he can be so violent in full view of the cameras, what happens when the cameras are off, the doors are closed, and those people don't have anyone looking out for them? I shudder to think. We could definitely do better. We should do better. Well, what do I know? Let me know. 011-883-0702. 011-883-0702. Between 10 and 10:30, we will have a reflection on this day, the value of freedom that we have in South Africa. Is it worth the paper it's written on? Shumelo Xaba will join us on this issue of the value of the South African freedom that we enjoy. 10:30, you would know that over 1.1 million individuals, most of them were Jews, were horribly ill-treated, killed, maimed, and all sorts of stuff in Auschwitz. And today is the anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz 80 years ago. We'll open the history books and go into that sad chapter of humanity. 11 up until 12, Family Matters. Family Matters is a feature that Clement touches on every Monday between 11 and 12. And today we want to ask you, are you an older sibling? And what are your responsibilities at home? Do you feel that you are unappreciated? There are many older siblings who go through life having sacrificed for their younger siblings. Chances are they didn't go to university. They went to work so that their siblings could get and be exposed to a better life than themselves. They became deputy parents. They took over heavy responsibilities. And once those younger siblings made it in life, they didn't care. They just don't care. They move on as if nothing has happened, as if they did all this by themselves. And they look down on an older sibling. And they don't even care. They don't even provide some sort of assistance, financial, emotional, psychological, or otherwise. What do you make of that? Are you that older sibling? Or are you that younger sibling who's a recipient and a beneficiary of great largesse from your siblings, your older siblings? And today, you don't care. You're thinking, yeah, well, they were supposed to do what they were supposed to do. I'm moving on with my life. I've got my family, and I don't care about helping them. That's truly sad. Let us know about that between 11 and 12. For now, 18 minutes after 9 o'clock. I look forward to your calls, your text messages, your voice notes on social media, on X, at IamFreeTSM, at IamFreeTSM, and at 702, at Radio 702, at Radio 702. On Facebook, I'm Thabo Shole-Mashao. Feel free to engage. The lines are officially opened.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
And with that, we go straight to Dima in DK. Dima in Diepkloof. Morning. Welcome.
Morning, Thabo, and thank you for taking my call.
Morning, ma'am.
Earlier, you asked what holidays we would like to have.
Yes.
And I say you are suitable for that topic because the last time you were here, you bemoaned the fact that Human Rights Day is referred to as Sharpeville Day.
Yes.
And June the 16th is Youth Day instead of what it should be, that the youth of that time fought for what we have today. So for us to have freedom today, I say rename those holidays for what they're truly, what they truly have to be, instead of sugarcoating them to embrace all people, so that the younger generations also should know how we got to have such a day.
Dima, you are spot on, and thanks for reminding me of that. Earlier on, and you were listening to Bongani Bingwa's show when I was just giving a throw forward as to what will be happening on this show. And I did indeed cite the fact that today is Freedom Day. Do we need another holiday in South Africa? And that holiday I propose should be called Apartheid Day, in order for us to truly reflect on the atrocities of apartheid, the serious wounds and scars that it cost this country. And I think those scars will be there up until eternity. The attempt is not to divide the nation or to revisit the past in order to sow divisions, but to reflect as a nation on something that visited us, that truly created proper trauma. And if we are interested in learning from history, we should have Apartheid Day in South Africa as a holiday where we all sit back and ask, what did I do to contribute to that huge monster which was declared a crime against humanity by an international body? So I did say that, and people may differ with me. And Dima, I love your points there, your contribution, because you're saying Human Rights Day should be Sharpeville Day or any other day. June 16, we shouldn't call it Youth Day. It should be 1976 Day, perhaps, or something more pointed, so that we don't sugarcoat. And I think, Dima, we have this a tendency of wanting to cover up things in South Africa, almost like a spouse who cheated on their lover. Now you don't want to talk about it anymore. You used to beat up your partner. Now you're like, I know that's all in the past. Leave it. Let's not talk about that anymore. Do you think it will have any effect, Dima, if we were to do that?
I believe it will be. My take is the younger generation should know why we have such a day. And they will be asking, and they will be taken to such places knowing that's why we have a day. Even when you say Apartheid Day, it will also form reconciliation of sorts, because the white people being born today should know that they are embracing black people as they do as we live in democracy. But what happened, we should not forget, so that we should not repeat the sins of our fathers in the past.
Dima, thanks very much, and wishing you a lovely Freedom Day. Khotso, you are in Naledi, Soweto. Hi, welcome.
Hi, how are you, Thabo?
I'm free. How's it going, brother?
Good. I'm very free, my man. Yes, I'd like to talk about how the parliament celebrated the victory when they were passing that illegal financial framework. You know, we all know they were like, yeah, as though it was their money. We all know that the ANC was looking for the loot, because the past elections showed them that they almost went out of government without the loot.
Yeah.
So now they had to go after the VAT, so that when they finally go out 2029, at least they don't mind. They all cozy. They've got money for their kids, for the future, and everything's at our own expense. They didn't think about how much we are struggling on the ground. So I wanted to actually emphasize on what made them celebrate as though this money was theirs when they passed that illegal framework. What made them actually even go behind the DA to go and negotiate with other smaller parties that agreed to all this illegality that happened in Parliament, live in Parliament when they did it. In our full view looking, what motivated them? You see, that's the thing that I would love.
Well, you'll hear the fact that we do have a gap to fill as far as meeting the obligations of service delivery. And that would mean maintenance of our roads. That would mean capacitating the police. That would mean injecting some more resources into our health system, hiring more nurses, making sure that the hospital are functional. That would also mean that to a large extent, we also have a capable civil servant who are well incentivized and appreciated. And it would only be about 75 billion rands in 3 years, right? Khodzo. So that's what I'm not justifying anything. I'm just giving you the possible rationale that they may place on the table as an attempt to answer your question. What I'd like to find out from you, nonetheless, is that how do you think that they were going to loot that 75 billion rands in 3 years? What mechanisms would they have in place to fill their pockets with that 75? In your mind, when you think about it, because it sounds like something that you had given some thought, that this is just purely thuggery. How do you think it would have worked itself out?
Yes, they all say it's all about service deliveries and everything else. But if you check at how they privatize, like, for example, the prison, that one that Thabo Bester was in, it's run privately, meaning that the government can afford to pay a private company to run the prison, which means that the government can actually afford to capacitate itself and run the prison itself. But they don't do that. They choose actually to go with this tender processes. So every tender progress is how they loot the money, and they say it's in the name of public service. But we all know again about the ghost workers. You can't tell me that the government can't actually see that there are people who are withdrawing money at the ATM as salaries. People that are even paid provident funds, but that person doesn't exist. Are you telling me in a human resource of a government-run entity, they can't see that 300 people are not existing in this government?
Sure. Khotso, let's leave it at that. And thanks for calling. Please stay tuned. 011-883-0702. Just by a photo finish between Roseanne and Zamklaka. I'll take Zamklaka because Zamklaka has been holding 4 seconds longer than you, Roseanne. I'll come back to you, Roseanne Stewart in Boxback. I'll come to you in a short while. Zamklaka in Alex, hi. Welcome.
I'm free too, Thabo.
Okay,
Thabo, there's one thing, but these are interrelated matters. I was speaking to your producer here about my gripe with media houses, be they individual media houses or under a grouping, as to how, but I do not blame them as such, in as far as holding government into account by having access to all the entirety of the state, especially the presidency, because the president is the head of the state, and I just do not see the president being taken to task by the media in this country. I know the media has tried and to raise this matter with the presidency. That Mr. President, the nation wants to speak to you, and we can only be able to hear the thinking of this man through his interaction with the media. And he's refused, literally. He's right away from the media. I do not know, Thabo, what it is that you guys can do in the media fraternity to constantly hammer this and let it be a weekly topic throughout all media in this country, that we need accountability from these people. They must come and speak to the nation. I don't want to take it much further, Thabo, and I think we know exactly where I think the whole nation is frustrated with what is going on.
I fully understand what you mean, and one of the things that you're pointing to is that the president is not accountable and offering answers directly to the people who voted for his party. Yes, they didn't directly vote for him, but they voted for his party. He's now head of state. He's not giving sufficient number of interviews, lengthy interviews on shows like this one with Clement Manyathela or anyone else. And he needs to actually improve his media appearance, where he accounts in his own voice, takes questions. More importantly, takes questions. He should take questions directly from...
And not the monologue that he normally gives when
he... Exactly. I hear you, Zamklaka. Let me quickly squeeze in Roseanne before I go to the to the news, because Roseanne has been holding for some time. Hey, Roseanne.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. The floor is yours. Thanks for your patience.
Thabo. Great. Thank you for your show. You're fantastic.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
And the fact is, I live in Dom Park. I've been living there for a long time. I know Cyril Ramaphosa had a house here. Tokyo Sexwale had a house here. So I'm not like a foreigner as such.
Yes.
The fact of the matter is we have got to consolidate. if we don't consolidate, we're never going to see justice or anything. And yesterday I was there burying my best friend, okay? And, the fact is that I was there, and I know I'm not from here. I'm from Mauritius.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a Mauritian.
Okay.
Living in Dome Park for a long time. But guys, we got to stop the anger. We got to stop everything. We got to make it happen. And that is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, before quick,
world.
I'll give you a chance. We have just a few seconds, Roseanne, before news headlines. What do you mean consolidate?
Consolidate means, it's apartheid, it's this, it's that.
Yeah.
I come from a multiracial background as well. White, black, blue, green, whatever. We got to consolidate. We got to heal one another.
And we have to, right? And one of the things when you're healing is making sure that the wound is opened. You just don't cover it up. And it will be a bit painful when you do that. And covering it up actually makes it fester. And chances are it may even become bigger than it is.
Yeah.
So, and it's an uncomfortable process of opening the wound, treating it, cleaning it. And cleaning it, you feel like screaming when it's being cleaned. And you wish someone would leave it alone. Don't you think that we are at that point, and that's what we're calling for when we're saying, let's open the wound and not cover it up?
Of course.
Yeah.
And we have got to let go in the meaning, accept, and bring us together, please.
Roseanne, let's pause at that, only because I have to take news headlines. If necessary, we'll call you back after this, because I am interested in what you have to say. And Roseanne is calling from Boksburg, 29 minutes to 10. And Sfiso will tell us what's the latest on Eyewitness News headlines. Good morning, Sfiso.
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. Rise Mzansi leader Songezo Zibi is confident government can find up to 100 billion rand through savings and careful budgeting. Zibi made the remarks after the country dodged an unpopular VAT increase to help raise government revenue. The Western Cape High Court yesterday officially suspended the 0.5 percentage point VAT increase, and the process followed by Parliament. Police hope the 350,000 rand reward for information into the disappearance of 3 officers will help get credible leads in their investigation. The constables were last seen on Wednesday at an engine garage near the Grasmere Toll Plaza in Gauteng while travelling from Bloemfontein to Limpopo for deployment. National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola visited their families yesterday, and he promised that a full-scale search operation is underway. And at least 68 people have been killed in a U.S. airstrike on a detention center for African migrants in Houthi-controlled northwestern Yemen. The armed group's TV channel says 47 people were injured, most of them critically, when the center in Sada province was bombed. It posted graphic footage showing multiple bodies covered in the rubble of a destroyed building. And those are the headlines this EWN, and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Travelling in the Crown City area, do expect delays on the M2 West. That's between the Crown Interchange and the M2 exit. Main Reef Road in itself backed up towards Fortsburg, while travelling on the N1 North roadworks taking place near Malibongwe Drive, and thus queuing traffic in 4 ways along Winnie Mandela Drive just as you approach Leslie. Traffic lights are still out of order in Edenville at Modderfontein Road and the Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek Road. They're also out in Alexandra at the N3 and London Road. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. We'll have more updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
Why the change? Why remove the deadline now?
The interest of the South African Social Security Agency lies at the center of its beneficiaries. So whatever decision is taken by any bank, the intention is to make sure that beneficiaries would continue to get what is due to them.
It then begs the question, Paseka, why was this decision not taken in the first place?
The South African Social Security Agency, it's not a bank, but these are our beneficiaries.
Paseka Letsatsi, Head of Communications for SASSA.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
The Checkers Hyper price drop is now on with massive savings of up to 40%. Deals are valid for 1 week only, so don't miss out. Save on farmstead pork belly on the bone for 89 rands 99 per kilo. Nescafe Gold instant coffee 200 grams, buy 2 jars for 249 rand. You save 30%, and Baby Soft 2-ply toilet rolls 24 pack, 2 for 299. You save 100 rand. Valid until this Sunday at Checkers Hyper or shop on 6060.
Make soccer season legendary with Hollywood Bets. Isike, Let's Play takes your disky passion to the next dimension. Light up the games with your best bet slip and stand a chance to win your share of 2 million rand in prizes, including a brand new Toyota Fortuner. Bet a minimum of 10 rand on any soccer fixture to qualify. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
This isn't just a walk, it's a journey through memory, through meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane returns on Sunday, 27 July. Walk from the hallowed grounds of Freedom Park to the southern lawns of the Union buildings and some of our capital city's most iconic landmarks. Choose from 8 kilometer, 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or 4 kilometer for something lighter. Entry is 360 rand for adults and 200 rand for kids under 12. There's no parking at the start or end, so book your park and ride from Joburg or Pretoria when you enter. Sign up on primemediaplus.com before 26 July. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. Walk with meaning. Walk with us.
And now for your Easter forecast. Sunny with 100% chance of family fun. Join us at Chamberlain for our famous for Easter family fun promotion from 10 April to 4 May. With amazing deals on everything from outdoor essentials to pet care, power tools to paint, like 10% off Plascon paint mixing. Or kit up on sideway from boots and valleys to overalls. And score rebates when you shop with your trade card. Expect high levels of DIY excitement and savings across every aisle. And turn Easter from fine to full-blown family fun. Chamberlain, famous for hardware and family fun since 1903.
702.
WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
011-883-072-702-1702. Listen, and I was just saying earlier on that there are some disturbing things about what we see on social media and if it should be regulated. Some of the content creators exposing individuals to emotional harm, and they just walk away with a laughter at the end, and there are no repercussions. Also made mention of Mr. Moloto, who is a glorified bouncer on social media, going to grab drug addicts, beating them up, dragging them kicking and screaming into his rehabilitation center, and to the applause of parents who are justifiably tired of their children not listening and perhaps not wanting to go to rehabilitation, terrorizing their homes. I'm asking though, is that the way to do it? Is that the way to do it? Remember, we are driven by legislation, we are driven by the Constitution as well, and that is just being made fun of by these content creators. It's just been made fun of. Nonetheless, let me hear what you have to say on 072 702 1702.
Good morning, Thabo. Khotso from Naledi. The ANC was looking for a loot. The past elections showed them that they almost went out of government without the loot. And now they went after the loot. They went after wanting to increase the VAT so that 2029, when they get out, they would have the loot. You know, I hear, okay, you playing when Ellen Zilla was talking and whatever. Please play us a clip where Parliament was happy when passing this illegal financial framework. Yay! As though it was their money. Like as though there was, like I was so shocked when they're like, yeah, like these people, they celebrating. Is this their money or what is going on? And we thank the democracy and the South African courts for this. We thank the South Africans entirely. Thanks, Thabo.
Morning, Thabo. You say we are 100 times much better than we were before in the so-called freedom. And I put it to you, based on what? If you were to put two columns, of the plus and the negatives, before and now, take the positives now and the negatives now, and the positives back then and the negatives back then. How will it fare about? I mean, you cannot just come and just be let go of the hook like that, my brother, and say it's far better. No. You are basing it on what?
Yeah,
Thanks.
I'll tell you what I'm basing it on. Number one, on the fact that I can criticize the president right now, and I won't have cops waiting to beat me up and take me somewhere and kill me in the dark of the night. And it will be said that I jumped from the induction room of John Foster Square. I'm basing it on the fact that when I go to the bathroom during News Now, I work in a multiracial environment. We won't have toilets written blacks and whites. I'm basing on the fact that I can access some free quality education, which was not the case at the time. I'm basing on the fact that with all its problems, there is NSFAS that is there. There was TEFSA that was there that helped many of us to gain a little bit of tertiary education, without which we wouldn't have managed to be where we are. I'm basing it on the fact that today, as you are sitting there is no fear of someone kicking down the cops, kicking down the doors and asking you for a passbook. You can freely walk in Rosebank in Sandton, and no cop is going to ask you for a passbook. I am not claiming perfection of the system. I am not. And if you've listened to me before, I'm the harshest critic of this government. But there are laws now that protect us. There weren't those laws. Actually, apartheid was a legalized system of discrimination, making it okay for me and you to be subhumans. That on its own is value for money for me, because there's no price that you can pay for dignity. There isn't any other price. So I'm not saying it's perfect. I am not. But I'm saying, pound for pound, if I were walking down central Johannesburg and some person would come and slap me because I'm wearing a cap, and there would be no repercussion. I don't think people understand what apartheid is. Perhaps that's why we should have that apartheid day. I don't think people know what apartheid was. People think these were just laws. They didn't affect anyone and things were just normal. It was not like that. State of emergency for nothing. You can't walk your streets at night for nothing. I don't think people truly appreciate what apartheid did and what apartheid was. I don't think we do. Perhaps we need that day after all. I hope that column, and you can call and juxtapose what I said against what you feel. Feel free to do that on 011-883-0702.
Morning, Thabo. The Msamloto thing is wrong, but look at it this way. These are parents that are stuck. They don't know. They don't have any options. They don't. So this is the only option. So what do you expect a 60-year-old, a 70-year-old grandmother to do with his 40-year-old son who's taking drugs and is just in jail? His life is just messed up. What solution do you think would be okay? Cooks from Dublin.
Firstly, Cooks, I don't claim to have a box of solutions that would help South Africa. It's not why I said what I said. I am not claiming that I have a monopoly on fantastic ideas. I am saying it is against the values, principles, laws, and the Constitution that you and I agreed upon. The right to dignity. In Chapter 2. We agreed upon that. I'm saying it can't be then implemented conveniently and as and when we want to. So someone who's a drug addict doesn't have the rights that you and I have. They are battling. They have a serious problem. We cannot be compounding on their problems. Being a drug addict means that you have serious issues. It doesn't mean that you need then to be treated as subhuman. And with that, I'm not saying that I have solutions. I'm saying let's stick to the rule book that would be used against you and I. Would you like to be treated that way, Cooks? Would you enjoy some guy who's not a cop, whose qualifications we don't know? Is he even authorized to do what he's doing? Does his rehabilitation center, is it certified to be a rehabilitation center? And the way he speaks to people, you realize that this is an individual who does not have sufficient capacity to mitigate these complex mental health issues. He doesn't. He walks in, hey, get all better, boy. Get all better. I mean, it clearly says this person lives in a different world, 1984, where every problem was a nail and every solution was a hammer. That's what I'm saying. 011-883-0702. Doreen, you've been holding for some time. Thanks for your patience. You are in voice. Welcome.
Yes, Thabo. I am very, very unhappy with what happened to one of my colleagues. She lives in Deep Sloot Extension 6. Last week, Wednesday, she came to work like she was crying all night. She said at around 1:30, thugs broke the window of where she stays and they pointed a gun and told her to go and open the door. So she complied because she was scared that they were going to shoot them and her kids. She's got a 6-year-old and a 12-year-old kid. And the thugs came in, they took all her valuables, her movable items, microwave, TV, kettle, gas heater, gas stove. They haven't been having electricity for more than 2 months or so. So they're using gas. And now she's having to start budgeting to buy those things, the gas especially, because she has kids. She has to cook, she has to warm up. Because it's cold at this moment. And it's so unfair because she says those people were talking a foreign language. So obviously it's foreign guys. I don't want to mention the country, or you want me to mention the country?
No, I don't. I don't. You don't have to, and I'll tell you why you don't have to. Because it would be as painful even if it was a crime committed by a local South African who speaks like me. I don't think that would change things, right? I'm terribly torn apart by that because crime. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Doreen. I'm listening to you. Sorry.
They living in a yard where there's several rooms rented out. After they broke from hers, they went to the other 3 rooms. And these places, these guys know very well that these are women only staying in there. So they took advantage. There's no guy around.
Goodness me, Doreen, and it's heartbreaking. You know, you'll never understand the extent of the pain that crime imposes upon you, how you feel naked and vulnerable after being infringed upon, after someone had walked into your house and taken everything. You don't understand it until it happens to you. God forbid, I don't want it to happen to anyone, but I'm just saying until it happens to you, you just don't have that thorough understanding. My heart breaks for your friends. I pray that the cops would be able to find those thugs and justice would be done, Doreen. I don't know what to say. I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry about everything else that you've just described. It sounds painful, and it appears your friends would need a whole lot of help as well after this. Apologies for that. It's 11 to 10. Pumlani in Pretoria. Welcome.
Hi, Tom.
I'm free. How's it, Pumlani?
I'm good. Very from day, man.
And to you too, sir.
Yeah, no, I see you're listing your points of freedom, and I'm totally not against that. But I feel like as grown-ups, we have learned to understand that is actually not freedom. If you look at the level of education that we have, if you look at the level of, that kind of job that we're working, if you look at the places where we are staying and all of that, I think it's high time that we realize that is actually not freedom. Freedom is having access, to resources, money, and being able to go to a mall whenever you want to go to a mall. Not go to a mall only on the month end and finish the last cent that you've earned throughout the whole month of working very hard and not being able to even raise your kids and all of that. We cannot call that freedom. I'm totally against your points of saying we are free. We are not free. We are still struggling, and we within this 31 years of democracy, I'm not seeing any change. I'm trying to say, and it's only good when you are young, to know that our parents were not able to go to malls and walk into places where white people were. But now, when you grow up, you start to realize, what's the point of going to a mall if you don't even have the money to go to a mall? We go to school, the facility is very bad. What I'm trying to say, the level of education is not good. In classes, you find 70 kids in a single class. The teacher is unable to teach. That I don't want to talk much about the health facilities and all of that. That we cannot say it's freedom, because if you look at white people, the hospital that they go to, it's proper healthcare. Proper education. Everything is just proper with them. But if you look at us, man, we're struggling.
Yeah,
we are struggling. We're struggling. So we cannot say that's freedom.
Okay. So here's the point, Phumlani. We are talking about political freedom, and we are talking about a free constitution that meets out the rights to everyone equally. And in any society, go to France and go everywhere else, you will find people who are struggling. Anyway, hold on. I did give you a chance to ventilate and patiently so. So I won't be long because we don't have time anyway. So whilst that is the case, I am not arguing with you about the quality of education, how people are battling to make it from one salary to the next. If you are lucky enough to get a job, unemployment is a serious problem on its own. But I'm saying you can't say that there isn't freedom if you were comparing it to pre-1994. You can't say that. It is the quality of which we need to improve upon in order for the people to feel the positive vibrations of this freedom that the paper purports about. I think what we should agree upon is that pre-1994, as far as rights were concerned, and post-1994, it's chalk and cheese. We can only build on this. We can only build. But to say that it is exactly the same, it is not only being naive, it is definitely lying about the facts. It is being dishonest. Pre-1994, post-1994, pound for pound, if you are looking at the laws that we have now, you can't say that it's the same or the current is worse than the former. I'm listening to you briefly before I say goodbye.
I think maybe the definition of freedom, I don't know, maybe we define it differently.
I've confined it to political. I've confined it.
I do understand, but I feel like, the definition of freedom, I don't know, maybe, it should be changed, because I feel like, when you say you are free as a person, you should be able to take your kids to school and fetch them, and that's a privilege that we don't even have.
Yeah, and you mentioned going to the mall and buying things and whatever else. There are things that I can afford, but I can't say that we don't have freedom. I would like to buy a beautiful SUV right now. I can't afford it, but I can't say that there's no freedom because I can't afford to live in Dainfen.
I do understand that. But I feel like what we teach our kids as freedom, I don't know, man. I feel like we need to change the definition of freedom.
Let's agree to disagree, my brother. But I take your point. I take your point, Phumlani. We need to move very quickly. I've been overly indulging every single individual and forgetting that there is this thing called a time. Selma, you're in Rodiport. Hi. Selma?
Hello, Thabo.
Hello, Selma. Morning.
I just wanted a quick contribution about people being dragged out of their houses and committed to these institutions.
Yes, ma'am.
If these institutions are not registered, it is, anyway, they may not practice. A proper registered institution is supposed to have proper certified doctors and nurses on hand. They use proper certified drugs that help these people to overcome their drug habits or their drinking habits. And if they don't have those, these people can die. It happened to a friend of ours. He was sent to, well, I don't know, I assume it wasn't a registered facility. They didn't treat him properly. He got tremendous seizures as a result of all of a sudden being taken off booze, and he died. His brain ruptured, he died. So that is what I'm trying to say. And if you actually want to commit somebody to such a institution, firstly, like desk office or something, it has to be registered. And secondly, you need a proper order of court by a magistrate or judge or something.
Certainly.
To be able to do that, they have to certify this person to be committable.
Yeah, Salma, I'm glad that you brought that very sober note to this discussion. And I know some people are thinking that I'm against Ntate Moloto and he may unleash his bouncers on me because I spoke about him on radio. Well, it is what it is. He needs to do what he needs to do. 011-883-0702. Let's go to Semi in Centurion. Hey, Semi.
Good morning, Thabo.
Hi, welcome. We've got limited time, Semi. The floor is yours.
Sure. Thabo, in as much as we have freedom today, but to say that the current situation in our country is 100 times better than apartheid, that's oversimplistic. You are simplifying things. Because if you look at it, let's look at the facts. Between 2023 and 2024, over 4,000 men were wrongfully arrested here in South Africa.
Yeah.
It was released by Senzo Mkulu. Wrongfully arrested.
Yeah.
We still have people being beaten up by the police officers in police sessions and tortured and killed and dying. Look at what's happening in G4's prison.
Yeah.
Those things are deliberate. They are not mistakes.
Yes.
We've seen what Maderet was doing. Those TRT people. Those people were just a murder squad. They were killing people, doing all sorts of things under a democratic government.
Yeah.
Those were deliberate. They were not mistakes or negligence or so on.
I don't have a lot of time. Yeah. So compare that to 1984. What do the stats say?
Unfortunately, there was no
exactly to start off with. Because they knew. The
thing, Thabo, here is this: we still have elements.
Agreed. I'm not against it. You've created a parallel argument that in which I'm not participating. I don't disagree with that. Before the show, as God would be my witness, before the show, Clive, myself, and other producers on the other side were talking about how South African police use torture as a method to investigate some criminal activities. More so if you are a nobody, when they know they'll get away with it. I am not disagreeing with that, Semi. I am not. What I'm saying is that used to be far worse during now there's some bit of recourse. Now it is against the law. Previously, it was allowed. Detention without trial was a thing. And you'd be detained 60, 90 days without a trial at all. And it was okay. Mikey, conclude for us. The floor is yours.
Okay. I just want to say that Freedom Day today.
Yes.
South Africa has changed a lot, but it's failing the vulnerable.
Yes.
And why I'm saying that, especially my passion is with the elderly. The elderly who are displaced from their homes, and when cases are reported at the police stations, they almost, let's say statistics, almost maybe 70% of them are not solved, are not resolved, and many of them are in the streets. And it's my personal encounter.
Yes.
My frail mom, who is 92 years old, was chucked out of the house by, obviously, there's this syndrome of the last born. I'm a medical doctor. I've got all the resources. I fought the system. I went to the system, the SAPS, the prosecuting authority, the justice system, social development. I went everywhere. And there is no resolution, and my mom is still out of her 90-year-old house that we grew up where, there is doctors and advocates.
Mikey, we have to revisit that. What you are saying, you're giving us a great idea. I'm going to ask the producers to give you a call so that we can properly ventilate. We have only a few seconds remaining, so allow me to go on a break, and then I'll ask the producers to get in touch with you. 1 minute to 10.
Running a small business doesn't mean you face small problems. That's why you need Smart SME by Santam. It's tailor-made insurance built for small businesses. Even you, the plumber whose vehicle becomes a food truck on weekends. Or you, the beautician, wearing many hats. We cover the all in small business. Visit santam.co.za or SMS Smart SME to 34852 to get a quote. Santam. This is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer and controlling company for its group companies.
This Freedom Month, 702 and Omoda invites you to an unforgettable celebration of democracy, heritage, and soul-stirring rhythm of jazz. Join us on 30 April to honor International Jazz Day at the iconic Century Mandela. As Jazz Appreciation Month culminates, we pay tribute to the music that tells our stories, holds our history, and inspires our future. The experience includes live performances from jazz greats Feya Faku, Hebi Tswaidi, and Ziza Muftik. A gourmet three-course meal to delight the senses, and a guided tour of the historic Century Mandela. Limited tickets available at www.ticketmaster.co.za.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm stretching for tonight.
I thought you're not dancing at bachelorette parties anymore.
Baby, we need the money to put Johnny through matric mos.
And what's the police uniform for?
The clients feel safer when I wear it.
No, man, just sell your bakkie to We Buy Cars. They give the best prices and they pay you within minutes.
Okay, but can I just go and dance one more time, please? You know how much I love it.
No, the buyer's already on his way here.
Wow, okay.
Strapped for cash? Just sell your vehicle to We Buy Cars. The easiest way to sell your car by far.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. A fire has destroyed classrooms at a high school in Rivoli. Firefighters responded to the blaze in the evening yesterday. Johannesburg Emergency Services say an old building at the school was affected by the blaze. EMS spokesperson Xolile Khumalo says no injuries have been reported.
EMS firefighters responded to a fire incident call yesterday. 11 classes were gutted by fire during this incident, and the cause of fire is undetermined.
Rise Mzansi leader Songezo Zibi is confident government can find up to 100 billion rand through savings and careful budgeting. Zibi made the remarks after the country dodged an unpopular VAT increase to help raise government revenue. The Western Cape High Court yesterday officially suspended the 0.5 percentage point VAT increase and the process followed by Parliament. Zibi says cutting wasteful spending is possible, but it will take time.
I am the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. There is potentially about 100 billion that we can find. We just can't find it in a month. And Helen Villa or anyone else must not pretend that we can send a letter to the municipality somewhere and say stop wasting money.
Zibi says the court challenge also indicates how the time for unilateral budget decisions is over.
The era of budgets that were uncontested and the majority party could do whatever it chooses is over. And this level of scrutiny is a really good thing.
Police hope the 350,000 rand reward for information into the disappearance of 3 officers will help get credible leads in their investigation. The constables were last seen on Wednesday at an engine garage near the Grasmere Toll Plaza in Gauteng while travelling from Bloemfontein to Limpopo for deployment. National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola visited their families yesterday and promised that a full-scale search operation is ongoing. Police investigating a case of hijacking and kidnapping, and the police minister's spokesperson Kamokhelo Mokhosi says no tip-off is too small.
We want to express our gratitude for the support from the Premier of the Free State and the MEC for community safety, roads and transport. We call on the community to assist law enforcement. No piece of information is too small. These are our colleagues, our sons and daughters, and we must act as one in ensuring their safe return.
The Border Management Authority is set to provide a report back on security operations during this year's Easter period. BMA Commissioner Michael Masiapato will detail how many people moved through the country's port of entry and how many illegal crossings were intercepted. Mongezi Koko takes a look.
Last year, over 1.2 million travellers were processed, with hundreds of attempts to enter South Africa illegally stopped. This year's Easter operations were conducted under the High Tevais campaign, aimed at boosting border security and encouraging the public to report suspicious activities. The authority says strengthening border control is crucial to curb cross-border crime, human trafficking, and the flow of illicit goods. Mungi Zikoko, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
And at least 68 people have been killed in a U.S. airstrike on a detention center for African migrants in Houthi-controlled northwestern Yemen. The armed group's TV channel says 47 people were injured, most of them critically, when the center in Sadr province was bombed. It posted graphic footage showing multiple bodies covered in the rubble of a destroyed building. There has been no immediate comment from the U.S. military. The strike comes hours after U.S. Central Command announced that its forces hit more than 800 targets since President Donald Trump ordered an intensification of the air campaign against the Houthis last month. Gold is trading at $3,319.24 an ounce. The rand is at 18.68 to the dollar, 24.87 to the pound, 21.23 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $67.14 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident reported on the M1 North. It happened right near the Crown interchange, and it's causing a slight backup at this moment while traveling in Crown City. Delays along the M2 West towards Main Reef Road coming out of the Crown interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures will peak at highs between 24 and 25 degrees. The top story in EW and this hour, a fire has destroyed classrooms at a high school in Rivoli.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7.
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 10 o'clock. Thanks very much for joining us. Welcome to it. If you have just joined us, my name is Thabo Shole-Mashao. We're together till 12. I'm standing in for Clement. And this is 7:02. The previous hour was an open line, a fiery one at that. Very fiery. And that's how it should be, where we don't necessarily all agree on issues. And it just says that we are all thinking and engaging each other. We are not just marching on a line that has been drawn for us, and the direction has not been predetermined. So I love that a lot. When we have those discussions, we spoke about drug addicts, we spoke about social media issues, and we also spoke about freedom. Speaking of which, in this next half hour, we will be looking at the value of South African freedom. In the open line, most of you argued vehemently that it is not worth the paper that it is written on. The Constitution, that is, the rights that we enjoy, and the freedom that we purport to have. And many of you are saying that, how do we even say that we are free if we do not have a capacitated government to give us the services that we need? Many of you are complaining about finances, the state of the economy. And there was one caller who said, I can't walk into a mall and buy whatever it is that I want to buy, and yet you call this freedom. Of course, I don't think that's the definition of freedom, but there's a point to be made about being able to live in an enabling environment for economic success for various individuals. It has to be said, not every single person will be financially successful, financially sustainable as well, even in the best democracies of the world. It has to be said. That can be the only measure of freedom. I don't think it should be a measure at all, because it speaks about a number of issues, including personal responsibility, habits, spending patterns, and the level of the grind that you put in. And that is not to say that people are struggling and don't have any of those. Please don't confuse that to be what I'm not saying. So now, in this half hour, we wanted to look at the value and the quality of the freedom that we have on a day like this. And I'll introduce the guest after this. 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. It's the other way around. 9 minutes after 10 o'clock.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
He's a political analyst. Hlumelo Xaba joins us right now to help us navigate this murky waters of freedom on Freedom Day. Hlumelo, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good morning. Hlumelo, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I missed you there. I was just saying good morning, welcome to 702, but I suspect you've said that already. Let's go straight to it. I wanted to find out, in the previous hour, you might not have listened to what we were talking about previously, I think it's a sentiment nonetheless that is carried by a whole lot of South Africans out there. Whenever we speak about Freedom Day, people often express that we are not as free as we claim to be. How would you quantify, difficult as it is, the value and the quality of our freedom, Hlumelo, on the backdrop, just to make it a little bit sharper, on the backdrop of the rights that we enjoy, the services that we get, and the quality of our lives as ordinary South Africans?
You know, in South Africa, you actually need to demarcate what freedom is on three aspects, because remember, in 1994, the main reason what people thought democracy would translate to is prosperity, economically, socially, and politically. So these are the three aspects that are usually used to extrapolate what democracy and freedom looks like in South Africa. From a political perspective, you know, as cliche as it may sound, but people always do say that we got political freedom, but we didn't get any economic freedom, which to a certain extent is true. I mean, if you can look at the current socio-economic conditions of South Africa, South Africa is one of the most unequal country in the world. We have one of the most youth high unemployment rates, etc. So when you look at such things, you then begin to wonder as to whether or not people are really free in South Africa. And one thing that I said on another platform sometime last week was that the main reason why people are always not satisfied, or rather become very despondent insofar as this democracy is concerned, is because of the fact that their vote that does not really translate to tangible outcomes or to tangible gains. For instance, if you can look from 1994 until now, for every election that has taken place, you'll find that over the past 3-4 elections, the voter turnout, for example, I'm not talking about the particular aspect of things, the voter turnout has really been declining, which clearly shows that there's public distrust in this democracy, and the general citizenry is not really satisfied with what has been happening because, like I said, that their vote does not translate to tangible social and economic outcomes.
Is it necessarily fair, though, to juxtapose pre-1994 to the current state of things right now?
Well, I wouldn't say it's really fair, because I think we have to look at it from the angle of the fact that Black people or Africans in this country were oppressed, that their rights were very limited. That's if there even were any rights pre-1994. So post-1994, of course, there wasn't a constitution that was established in our country where now people have rights in terms of have rights in terms of certain aspects of their life. For instance, the Bill of Rights does actually indicate that everyone has a right to education, everyone has a right to housing, etc. Like they're basic human rights that are enshrined in our Constitution. But then you'll find that the same rights that are enshrined in our Constitution are actually being violated by a democratic government. Because, for instance, you look at the state of housing and informal settlements, you look at the state of service delivery in local government, and then it's in those instances where you actually begin to wonder as to whether or not people's rights are being upheld within this democracy. And also, if you remember from pre-1994, I'm using pre-1994 I'm juxtaposing like the current dispensation of pre-1994 because of the fact that in 1994, as Black people in this country, we really thought that things were going to really change for the better socially and economically. However, what you come to see, as a matter of fact, you hear many people in informal settlements saying that things were better during apartheid than they are now. You then begin to ask as to whether or not this freedom was really attained in a manner that would benefit all. I mean, if you can look at, for instance, the Freedom Charter, which was used as sort of like a not really a campaigning tool, but what it was enshrined in the Freedom Charter by the then Liberation Movement with the ANC, is something, ideals that, were supposed to be used to create an ideal society for those that were oppressed previously. But if you look at the Freedom Charter and what has been attained now, years later, you'll find that a lot of things that are enshrined in the Freedom Charter are actually not things that we see within this democratic dispensation. You look at some of the economic policies that have been adopted in this country, like, for instance, you'll find that most of the economic policies in this country post-1994 are not really beneficial to those who were at a disadvantage previously.
Sure. It's 14 minutes after 10 o'clock. You're on 702. My guest is Tlumelo Xaba, political analyst, and we are interrogating the quality of freedom that is in South Africa at the moment. Many of you have said in the open line that actually we are not free, and we're exaggerating the levels of freedom in this country because many still go to bed hungry. The levels of crime are high, and many other ills that you've pointed out to. You are most welcome to participate in this discussion, which is almost an extension of what we touched on a little bit earlier on. You are free to call 011-883-0702, 011-883-0702. What do you think of the level of freedom in the country, or the quality, I should say, the quality of the freedom that we enjoy as South Africa? For you, specifically as an individual, do you feel that you were better off then than you are now, which I think is a bit unfair? Nonetheless, it's a free country. Express your thoughts as you wish. And how would you rate, if I were to be as blunt as to say, out of 10, the quality of this democracy, rights and freedom that we are enjoying and celebrating today on this significant day in South Africa? Out of 10, 10 being the best ever, 1 being, oh my goodness me, it is just terrible. Where would you put the quality of South Africa's democracy, freedom and rights? I would love to hear from you and your experiences. That's what counts. Your encounters as you interact with everything else in the country from day to day. 011-883-0702. Tlumelo, I am wondering, you mentioned economic prosperity that is often conflated with emancipation generally of a society, that there was an expectation that post-1994 there would be an improvement drastically on personal and otherwise economic prosperity. Is that a fair expectation to have, given that even in the most advanced, oldest democracies, you still have the poorest of the poor in South Africa? You still have the poorest of the poor in those democracies. You still have people who are battling to make ends meet. Is that a fair indicator of the quality of freedom?
If you can, I'll first extrapolate from Freedom House rating. So Freedom House is basically an index that rates a country's democracies around the world to see how much of freedom or democracy there is in a country. And South Africa actually has a very good rating when it comes to those ratings. I think it's over 70% or 80% rather, as compared to other African countries. So to show that, for instance, I even once mentioned this to a colleague of mine sometime last week, that in South Africa, unlike some other African countries, you don't have a liberation movement that lost power resorting to dictatorial elements. I think I always say to people that, if anything, we may denounce the ANC on many things in terms of their failures, but when it comes to upholding democratic principles and allowing the freedom that they fought for to actually be in display in this country, it's something that is really commendable from them. However, there's a research that has actually proven that none of the South African presidents, for example, have actually achieved something that is economic prosperity in this country. For instance, none of them have actually succeeded in redistributing the wealth of the country, because if you can look at our country's history, you'll find that the one thing that has always underpinned the struggle of South Africa was, for instance, things such as property relations, which was the fight for land, which is still a contentious matter up until this day, which, of course, we know that with the land comes a lot of prosperity economically, as well as in terms of other aspects of life. But of course, there are, to say that you do, like you mentioned as well, that there are democracies around the world where you will still find a lot of people who grapple with poverty, etc. However, the gap is not as wide as it is in South Africa. The main problem in South Africa is that the Gini coefficient rate, which is the rate that is used between those that are affluent and those that are living in poverty, is just too much. Hence, we are rated the most unequal country in the world. Of course, we do understand that our leaders, around the world, leaders do try by their best to actually eradicate poverty, as enshrined in the Sustainable Development Goals that were signed in the Paris Treaty. That there are people who are there are certain things such as eradicating poverty that should be a priority in a country.
Yes.
But in South Africa, the problem just keeps on getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So the main issue here is not really me saying that everyone within the country is going to live a prosperous life, but the gap between the rich and the poor shouldn't be so big like it is in South Africa. Because in South Africa currently, you find that a lot of people, those who are even in the middle class, are not even prospering. They just keep on going backwards and backwards.
Yeah. Let me allow the calls to come through. Hlomelo 011-883-0702. Dineo, you are in Acacia. Hi, welcome.
Yes, thank you, Thabo. Thabo, I just want to speak about my personal freedom.
Yes, ma'am.
When I was a child growing up in Guatemala, we could go as girls during the school holidays. 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, go from Guatemala, from Springs to Randfontein by train. 10 or 12 girls, just a group of us, just to buy fish and chips in Randfontein. Right now, 12-year-old girls cannot walk down the street because it's not safe.
Did you say from Guatemala?
Yeah, I was from, when I was born in Guatemala.
No. You nearly gave me a fright that you walked from Guatemala to Randfontein.
No, by train. We caught a train from Guatemala to Randfontein.
Okay.
At school girls, primary school girls.
Yes.
And there was nothing, no harm. When I was a student between 83 and 86 in Mafikeng, I could go to a party, have a nice party at the radio, Bob, and then walk with my friends to campus without fearing anything. When I was at Rhodes in 1987, at 2 a.m. I could go and buy pizza.
Yeah.
Now, just as 4 girls, now you cannot do that. I'm afraid to walk to my own shop here, to the shops here, where I stay in Acacia, because it is no longer safe. Secondly, financially...
Do you think that was changed by democracy, by freedom that we enjoyed post-1994?
No control, lack of control.
Okay.
There is nothing wrong, lack of control.
Dineo, let's leave it at that and allow Zek to come through. I'll go back to my guest, Hlomelo Xaba. Zek, you are in Silver Lakes. Hi, welcome.
Hi, Thabo. Good morning.
Morning,
Thabo,
sir.
I just wanted to touch on the issue of freedom. I think one of the problems we do have is that we don't want to learn even from the very poor. For instance, if you take their history from 1910, when they got freedom from the British, there was a government in place that was very much focused on ensuring that they take the Boers out of the poverty they were in.
Yeah.
The Boers were poor.
Yeah.
The Boers had no land. The Boers were not educated. The first thing they did, they started to build universities for their people. They then started to build SOEs that when they graduate from the various universities, they have a place of employment to work. And that's where your CESOs and your ESCOMs and everything popped out of there. So you had the government that was very much, that had a plan in place to ensure that they take people out of freedom. And I think the reason why we feel so disgruntled is because we are still basically piggybacking on things that were done by the Boers 100 years ago, but the current government is doing nothing to sort out our current plight right now. You know? So I think for me, there's no leadership.
Don't go away. Don't go away as yet, Zek. One or two things so that I don't appear before the BCCSA. I have an unpopular and unfashionable duty to not encourage or just let things slide when people are referred to in a generic way that may be seen as derogatory in one way or the other. And you would know about the Boer issue, and in a sense that not all Afrikaners are Boers. You rightly so.
I
And
can agree.
no. So I'm not holding fort for anyone, and I know I'll be called names, but I do have a responsibility to touch on these things. I agree to open the microphone, so I have a responsibility to that. So that's notwithstanding your critical points, and you are speaking about the poor Afrikaner question that took place post the war, and the war was the Second South African War, now called the Anglo-Boer. It was called the Anglo-Boer War. Now it's called the South African War. That ended 1901, 1902. Take or leave it. The Vereeniging Treaty as well that took place, right? And then 1910 we became a union, as you're rightly alluding to it. And there were serious programs that were put into place to address literally the Afrikaner question. Hence the Bond and AFKs and various other institutions that were forming themselves to make sure that, for one, there was an Afrikaans Bible in 1933 and so on that had to be there. So all those things I agree with. And your point is that we needed a deliberate economic mechanism placed into being to assist. And some will argue, and this is the question, that's why I didn't want you to go away. Some will argue that initiative and plan is supposed to be BEE. How would you respond to that, Zach?
Yeah, I think
Black Economic Empowerment Program,
Yeah, I think with the BEE, it didn't work because I think some of us did not understand it. We just took people in and placed them into various positions regardless of whether they were qualified for those particular positions. So I think that's where the BE at times fell off, where we did have people who are the right color, but who were not necessarily best suited for that particular job. So then it made the whole system to look bad, to say, you're putting incompetent people into this thing, and now it's collapsing and it's costing people jobs at the end of the day. So the BE was supposed to be, but if it was done properly and there was no nepotism and there were no people that were looking for self-interest, then BE would definitely have.
So we should blame ourselves again, right? And we should look into the mirror and say,
we should blame
okay.
ourselves.
Zach, thanks for that. Tlumelo, I'm coming to you. Just allow me to take just 2 voice notes, and then I'll allow you to sum up for us. 072-702-1702.
Morning, Thabo. Morning, 702 listeners. Mpo here from Johannesburg. Thabo, I think we need to change the name of Freedom Day to Independence Day. Yeah, for me, is there's no independence in freedom, but there's freedom in independence. I don't know if you get my drift.
Loud and clear.
I don't think whether you are white, black, Indian, or coloured that you enjoy a better sense of freedom in this country.
Oh, is that another voice note?
In the suburbs, you've got to have your own private security to provide and to keep you safe at night. Our infrastructure is deteriorating at a rapid rate. The roads we drive on are becoming non-existent. The water supply is problematic. The quality of education that the kids are getting in any school is shocking. So have we really gone forward, or has the ANC just taken over and stolen the loot? Maybe we need to actually just face the facts. The ANC did not bring a better life for all.
Certainly, I don't want to hold brief for them. We are out of time, so I wish I would comment on some of your thoughts, but let me allow Tlumelo to close it up for us. Tlumelo, taking into consideration what some of our listeners are of the opinion, how would you respond to that, especially against the backdrop of the current government that we have in place?
I think Zach mentioned a couple of significant and important points in regards to like the economic policies and also like touching on our history and how things were. For instance, just to add on to what he said in regards to how the Afrikaner nation, for instance, became so hegemonic in terms of uplifting their communities and everything. In the 1930s, actually, there was a commission which made a census on how many Afrikaners were poor at the time. And in all honesty, the majority of the current SOEs that we have, like your Sanlams, your Escoms, your Transnets, were built during that time in a in conjunction with uplifting that particular community. And what you also mentioned, that BEE was supposed to play that role in a democratic context. However, what we've seen in South Africa is that, for instance, BEE only benefited a few political elites and not the broader, I would say, African population in South Africa, which still continues to live in poverty, etc. So I think it's in these instances that we really see that where it's really important for us to actually measure our freedom socially, economically, as well as politically. I think if you want to measure South Africa's freedom, you need to look at those three aspects. Socially, for instance, some of the listeners spoke about security in terms of them not being secure and not feeling safe when they walk at night. Whereas in the past, that's not something that really happened. For instance, another listener spoke about the water supply that is always problematic, as well as the current electricity problem and housing problem that we have. So you need to extrapolate from these particular aspects economically as well. Like I did mention about BEE now, they did make it like extended and made it broad-based black economic empowerment, but it's still not sufficient enough to actually uplift people economically and to also improve their lives.
We're out of time. We're out of time, Khumelo. Sadly, I have to leave it at that. I do want to engage you further. I'm hoping there'll be an opportunity in future shows to speak about this. And thanks for your insights and thanks for your astute contribution to the segment. Khumelo Xaba, political analyst. Before I go to the headlines now with Sfiso, someone is asking, Thabo, what's wrong with Boers? They refer to themselves as that. Phew, la khathatsa. Not every Afrikaans person is a Boer. I wouldn't want to be called in a collective generally. And the issue was the poor Afrikaner question. It was not the poor question, poor question that was put into place. So there was a context to that. I'm not defending anyone. That's just how it is. We must try to be as close to the facts as possible. I did say it is an unfashionable position and responsibility that I have at times. 29-11. Sfiso Zulu will tell us what's the latest with Eyewitness News headlines. Sfiso, hi.
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. The Education Department in Gauteng believes that a fire at a high school in Riverlea started in an unused classroom. The blaze, which destroyed a block of 11 classes, erupted in the evening yesterday. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona says they suspect that there were people on school premises at the time of the blaze. Rise Mzansi leader Songezo Zibi is confident government can find up to 100 billion rand through savings and careful budgeting. Zibi made the remarks after the country dodged an unpopular VAT increase to help raise government revenue. The Western Cape High Court yesterday officially suspended the 0.5 percentage point VAT increase and the process followed by Parliament. And North Korea has for the first time confirmed that it sent troops to fight for Russia against Ukraine. In a report on state news agency KCNA, Pyongyang's military claims its soldiers helped Russian forces completely liberate the Kursk border region. The BBC is reporting that this is an order given by leader Kim Jong-un. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, traveling on the N1 south towards the Grasmere Toll Plaza, there's some delays reported there. Please be on the lookout and try to avoid. And in Mayfair, some delays on the M2 west between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. There's also queuing traffic on the M1 north just as you come out of Boyson's Road. That's due to an accident there. Traveling in Sharon Lee, there's some delays along the N1 north approaching Malibongwe Drive. That's due to roadworks that are taking place along this route. And heading towards Four Ways Mall, delays on Cedar Road just as you approach the Witkoppen Road. I have more updates. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The issue of the proposed 100 billion rand transformation fund.
Even in this concept fund, what exactly is being transformed? Those are some of the granular sort of questions that we put forward and requesting that we have much clarity around the definitions of these things so that when we measure them, we're able to ensure that folks who are responsible for such a fund would be held accountable for that.
And Demiso Kobeka, the head of the Economic Policy Desk.
The Money Show
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by ABSA CIB. ABSA is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025. ABSA is a registered FSP. Your story matters. 702, let's walk the talk.
The Checkers Hyper price drop is now with massive savings of up to 40%. Deals are valid for 1 week only, so don't miss out. Save on farmstead pork belly on the bone for 89.99 Rand per kilo. Nescafe Gold instant coffee, 200 grams, buy 2 jars for 249 Rand. You save 30%. And Baby Soft 2-ply toilet rolls, 24 pack, 2 for 299 Rand. You save 100 Rand. Valid until Sunday at Checkers Hyper or shop on 6060.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers, including Pick n Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection, and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed fruity flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and flemings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
24 minutes to 11 o'clock. Clement is not here. In his stead, I'm Thabo Shole-Mashao. We're together till 12. I'm excited to be with you. And I love the level of engagement, by the way. We have to differ. We have to see things differently. That's what makes a debate so rich. And please don't hold back. Keep firing those shots. I'm enjoying them thoroughly. And I mean it when I say that. That's the nature of a great debate. We have to thresh out issues. We won't see things in the very same way. It's impossible. So your views are most welcome. Mine, I'd like to believe, are also accommodated in your plethora of views and in your platform of wisdom. And let's continue doing that. 011-883-0702. 011-883-0702. I'm excited to be with you. Keep those calls coming through. 80 years ago on this day, British troops marched into Poland to bring some bit of liberation. You remember, this is the post-World War II. And they found gruesome scenes of people lying around, dead bodies. You'd remember the story of gas chambers, children, women, and men, and the Auschwitz anniversary. And we are looking at that right now, and assisting us with that as we page back the pages in the book of history. We are joined by Mary Klook, director of the Durban Holocaust and Genocide and national vice president of the Jewish Board of Deputies. Mary, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
What's the significance of this day? And I'm saying that not lightly. I'm saying that on the backdrop of knowing that there are other people who may not necessarily have sufficient information of the day, there's its significance in historicity, but most importantly, its significance in the lives of those who were directly affected.
Thank you. So just in terms of the physical date, I just want to draw your listeners' attention to the 27th of January is the significant date for the liberation of Auschwitz. Auschwitz was an enormous infrastructure of multiple concentration and death camps where over million people were murdered, most of whom were Jewish. And on the 27th of January, 1945, the Russian army liberated the camp, which was one of the first camps to be liberated in the sort of final lead up to the end of the war, Second World War. But this year, 2025, was the 80th anniversary of that significant day. And so there was a commemoration on that day, and I can share a little bit about that because I did travel to Auschwitz for the commemoration. But the reason we're talking today is that this past few days has been what the Jewish community called Yom HaShoah, which is the day of the Shoah, the day of commemorating the Holocaust. Shoah is a Hebrew word for catastrophe, and it's the day where we commemorate this, not just Auschwitz, but the entire process of the attempt by the Nazis to eliminate the Jewish community of Europe. 6 million Jews were murdered in that process. And the commemoration day is very significant because for the survivors, and interestingly, today there are still just over 200,000 survivors alive. Many of them, you can imagine, in an advanced age. In fact, 1,400 of whom are over 100. But for all those people who did survive in 1945, this day of Yom HaShoah is the day of remembrance. They have no idea where, for most people, where or on what day their family members were murdered. Many of them are in piles of ashes in mass graves. And so for them, for people who have no cemetery, for all of us, if you think about a loss of a loved one, we have an annual commemoration. We have a day in a year where I remember the loss of, the death of my parents, where they are buried, maybe a journey to the cemetery to pay your respects. For Holocaust survivors, there is no such opportunity. So the day of commemoration, Yom HaShoah, where we commemorate the loss of the 6 million Jews who were murdered, but also the resilience of those survivors. And for the survivors, it's an incredibly significant day. So that's why we're talking today. And just to mention that the Auschwitz was one of the first camps to be liberated.
Certainly.
On the 27th of January. I hope that was clear.
No, it's very clear. And one, again, we refer to incidents in history sometimes with a little element of vagueness. Hence, I ask for the significance and the importance thereof. Why do you feel that generations moving on should be cognizant and should stop and pause for a second to reflect on this?
So thank you for that question, because that's what I think the world, certainly the world in my world of Holocaust education and Jewish leadership, is an enormous moment for us all to ponder what will be when all Holocaust survivors are no longer. So first-hand witnesses, so to speak. We have, since 1945, although initially it was very difficult for survivors to talk, but to this day, I was just, as I said to you, at Auschwitz on the 27th of January, and 40 survivors of that camp were able to make the journey to be there to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the liberation of the camp. But the projections are that in the next 5 to 10 years, 70% of the survivors who are alive at the moment will no longer be alive. So within 10 years, we're looking at a significantly reduced population of Holocaust survivors, first-hand witnesses. And how will we remember if we don't have people around the table or opportunities to hear from first-hand witnesses? As you so rightly said, how do we avoid these significant, tragic events that shaped our lives and our future being sort of confined to the shelves of history?
Yeah.
And so the intention is, and there are some really clever, is with AI, I don't have to tell you, tech's not my forte, but I've been exposed to some really incredible technological advancements that are actually creating the opportunity for young people to engage with Holocaust survivors through a hologram. Honestly, the opportunities for, we have student groups and school groups who come through our Holocaust survivor, Holocaust centers in Durban, Cape Town, and Johannesburg every day. And they have the opportunity to engage with, through a screen, and ask questions of Holocaust survivors as if they were there through this hologram process. So it's not the same, but we are, there is an enormous amount of huge endeavor to bring those stories to life and to create those testimonies so that they are as full and as meaningful as they can be for future generations. I think your question was why, and why do I think it's significant for young people? We need to learn from history, and especially if I think about the tradition, particularly in and this is a history for everybody, but coming from a particularly Jewish perspective, we just celebrated the festival of Passover. So I'm sure most of your listeners know about the Passover, which in some in the Christian tradition, the Passover is perceived as the last night of the Passover is perceived as the Last Supper. But for the Jewish people, Passover is the time where the Jews commemorate and celebrate the exodus from Egypt, from slavery, and the liberation of the Jewish people. And every year we commemorate that, and we are instructed to share it with our children and grandchildren as if they were there. And I think that what for me is important is that it's really important for future generations to commemorate what our ancestors, in their case, the future generations, in my case, my late mother and grandparents experienced, because that is our collective memory.
Sure.
That is what shapes our identity.
Mary,
as people, as humanity.
Yeah, you recently went to revisit Auschwitz, and you were there. I'm interested in your contemporary thoughts, especially after traversing those very significant spaces of history. What do you bring with us? What is going? What sort of passages does it open in your memory bank, and how does it? I'm sure it was emotional as well.
It is very emotional. You know, you don't know if it's going to be, you prepare yourself for a visit such as that as much as one can, in terms of providing yourself with information and layers of possible reactions. You have no idea. I think for me personally, the scale of what is physically remains there, the scale of what was achieved, if that's the right word. Achievement has sort of positive connotations, but what the Nazis were able to accomplish, if you could imagine literally thousands of people being brought in the most horrific circumstances in cattle trucks to their death, and a factory of death. And certainly one can't conceive of it today, never mind that we've been aware of it for 80 years. And how, as you said, when the liberators and the liberating armies came across these concentration camps and death camps, how much the mind must have boggled at what humanity is capable of. And I think that's the lesson for all of us, or the warning for all of us. We all are capable of enormous good, but we all have, I personally believe, a propensity for really unfathomable evil, it would seem. Not all of us, but to see the depravity that humanity would descend to. And I think coming from South Africa and having lived all my life here and feeling so passionate about my own country, and I think about how important it is that we continue to work hard every day to build the country we dream of and to reach out to each other as human beings. I think there are lessons and messages for all of us, no matter what your personal circumstances are, what religion you are and where you come from. Going to a place like Auschwitz triggers in all of us the opportunity to think about what we don't want to be.
I was reading somewhere just yesterday in preparation of this, and I can't remember where, but they were mentioning that also the pain came post the war, post the freeing of Auschwitz, wherein you had some victims who were alive at the time, and many of them died after they were liberated because of the diet that they were receiving, and their bodies were not used to basic food given the atrocities that they had endured for quite some time. And many of them could not cope even post-liberation with the freedom that came with it. And it just told a very sad story that it didn't actually end on the day, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You said it so perfectly. Apart from people being, in order to return to life, the process, I don't think we had there wasn't the dietary sophistication or the understanding of nutrition that there is today. And the refeeding that one needs to take people who are literally emaciated and starving and literally bones back to life. People were starving and overate and caused their stomachs to ultimately, be their demise. Such frail and fragile human beings that they were. But then there was also the emotional aspect of trying to return to life. We often refer in Holocaust education as the pain of survival rather than liberation. You imagine people coming back to their hometown to absolutely nobody. Not one person, coming from enormous families, large, enormous, beautiful families, coming home, not one single soul you love is there to be with you. I mean, those are the pain of survival was extraordinary.
Also, again, going through some literature on this, and it thinks that you would easily know. It said that there were more than 3 million of Poland's 3.2 million Jews who were murdered by the Nazis, accounting for about half of the Jews in Europe killed during the Holocaust. How critical?
Yes.
How critical is it to name the culprit by their name in order not to revisit what took place in the past? How important is it not to sweep it under the carpet, but to say this was a transgressor and this was a victim?
I think it's becoming more and more important. It's so interesting because the questions you raise are really important. We have focused, and for obvious reasons, enormous amounts of energy and time on the victims.
Sure.
And obviously survivors.
Rightly so.
But exactly. But more and more so, the opportunity now and the importance of making sure that the perpetrators are front and center for exactly the reasons that you and the points that you raise. I think in order for us to build a world where where this kind of hatred and othering and we all know it's cliched to say it didn't begin with gas chambers. Auschwitz was a step-by-step process, and it starts with how we speak to one another every single day. The choices we make on how we choose to engage with our fellow man. And I think those are the lessons and those are the opportunities that we in our 3 Holocaust centers, as I said, in Durban, Cape Town, and Johannesburg, have the privilege to help young people to understand the choices that they have in how they choose to engage with their fellow human beings.
And Mary, now looking at probably the education system, curriculum, the place of Auschwitz, Holocaust in history, what do you think about the level of prevalence as far as text is concerned? Is it sufficient? Could more be done? And I know when matters of such sentimental value are touched on, it can't just be enough. There also information keeps coming, new information keeps coming forth. How would you characterize the quality of the text as far as history is concerned on these significant issues?
So we're living in an interesting time because as intimidating as technology is, it's also providing us with amazing opportunities to ensure that these texts, literature, etc., the testimonies, historians' work is being saved for posterity. And so I think the challenge now is to make sure that young people are accessing, I mean, you and I understand that young people access most of the information that they imbibe through social media. And the challenge is now to make sure that that is responsible information and accurate, historically accurate information is made available to them. So it's, you know, the challenge is more, how do we take the information we have and make sure that it's not distorted? And we're living in a weird kind of world of where truth is quite murky, as hard as that is for us to comprehend. And I think that's the challenge. How do young people access, as you say, more and more information and more of these artifacts and are being made available, and archives are being opened up.
Yeah.
As you know, the Vatican opened their archive of that period very recently. So all of that information is, thank God, being made available to historians and researchers. But now we have to make sure that the young people who choose to and are accessing most of the information through what can be very problematic source needs to be available in a responsible way. And there's a great deal of effort and energy being put into AI to ensure that the information is historically sound.
And how do people reach your institution as we come to the tail end of this discussion? And does the institution perhaps have some interesting things in your calendar in the future?
Oh, definitely. Thank you for that question. So I'm the director of the Durban Holocaust and Genocide Center, and we are based on the North Beach in Durban. We have a beautiful center with a very meaningful and impactful permanent exhibition, as does our sister centers in Johannesburg and Cape Town. All three there, the Cape Town Holocaust and Genocide Center, as well as Johannesburg Holocaust and Genocide Center. Each of our centers offer opportunities to immerse yourself in an exhibition, but we also have many public events. So wherever you are based in South Africa, please go onto our website, go on to social media, and familiarize yourselves with what's coming up. We have public events weekly almost. And we look forward to welcoming your listeners to our centers.
Certainly. Thanks for your time. Mary Klook, Director of the Durban Holocaust and Genocide Center, and also the National Vice President of the Jewish Board of Deputies. 2 minutes to 11.
Some walks are just for exercise, others for leisure. But this walk is for something greater.
It's team building.
This July, you won't just take a step, you'll take a stand. You'll walk through history. You'll walk with it. On Sunday, 27 July, the 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, returns. It's a route that winds through the heart and soul of our capital city. From the sacred grounds of Freedom Park to the powerful steps of the Union buildings. Choose the 8-kilometer for those walking strong, the 6.7 kilometer in honor of Mandela Month, or the 4-kilometer for families and first-timers. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for children under 12. Enter now on primemediaplus.com. 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane, is where footsteps become footprints.
April, May, hip hip hooray. It's time to spin and win your share of up to 100,000 Rand in weekly prizes of Mr. D. All you have to do is shop 5 times across any of the stores on the Mr. D app. Every 5th shop, boom, it's 5 in the bag bonanza, spin and win time. And if you are a Take a Lot More subscriber, you get an extra spin. So start ordering today and high five your way to the wins with Mr. D's 5 in the bag bonanza. It's the bomb. T's and C's apply.
Let's toast to Kumalo, Sitole and Associates.
Kumalo, that's me, a partner at the table. If I had it my way, I would have made it Kumalo, Sitole, Abobaba Nabo Auntie, who helped with money for registration fees when I was short. And don't forget my grandfather, Umtungwa. He's usually in overalls, but today, uswenkile. They all worked hard to get me here. So kahle, they really are partners in this business.
Experience the power of mutuality. In 2024, we allocated 5.6 billion Rand in profit share to our graduate professional members, because at PPS, success is better shared. Learn more at pps.co.za. PPS is a licensed life insurer, controlling company and authorized FSP.
In just 10 years, over 850 million winners have shared more than 31 billion Rand with the National Lottery. That's not a dream, that's real money, won by real people, right here in Mzansi. So the question is, why not you? The next winner could come from your hometown. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529# for USSD. Handa, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Eyewitness News is brought to you by Momentum. Advice is not a one-size-fits-all. Speak to a Momentum accredited financial advisor today. Advice meets your context. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. The Department of Education in Gauteng believes that a fire at a high school in Rivoli started in an unused classroom. The blaze, which destroyed a block of 11 classes, erupted in the evening yesterday. No injuries have been reported and police are investigating the cause of the fire. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona says they will provide mobile classrooms.
So in this block we have about 11 classes, and out of the 11, one was utilized as a block of toilets for boys. So, and 4 classes we were using for grade 8 learners, which is about 230 learners that will be affected by this fire.
He says they suspect that there were people on school premises at the time of the fire.
The suspicion is that there might have been people inside the school. We just not sure who will they be. The police really need to assist us to investigate. We just want to call upon members of the community to be our eyes and ears in all our schools, because during recess, our challenges is theft.
The Border Management Authority has reported an 8% increase in travel movements during this year's Easter period. The authority's Commissioner Michael Masiapato today provided an update on Easter operations at ports of entry. Masiapato says between the 15th and 24th April, officials facilitated smooth cross-border travel while also tightening security measures.
We registered about 1,057,063 movements across all our 71 ports of entry. This is an increase of 8% compared to the 2024 Easter period.
Rise Mzansi leader Songezo Zibi is confident government can find up to 100 billion Rand through savings and careful budgeting. Zibi made the remarks after the country dodged an unpopular VAT increase to help raise government revenue. The Western Cape High Court yesterday officially suspended the 0.5 percentage point VAT increase and the process followed by Parliament. Zibi says cutting wasteful spending is possible, but it will take time.
I am the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. There is potentially about 100 billion that we can find. We just can't find it in a month. And Helen Zille or anyone else must not pretend that we can send a letter to the municipality somewhere and say, stop wasting money.
Zibi says the court challenge also indicates how the time for unilateral budget decisions is over.
The era of budgets that were uncontested and the majority party could do whatever it chooses is over. And this level of scrutiny is a really good thing.
And North Korea has for the first time confirmed that it sent troops to fight for Russia against Ukraine. In a report on state news agency KCNA, Pyongyang's military claims its soldiers helped Russian forces completely liberate the Kursk border region. The BBC is reporting that this is an order given by leader Kim Jong-un. Pyongyang's announcement comes just days after Russia's chief of staff praised the North Korean troops for being heroes. This is the first time that Moscow has publicly acknowledged their involvement. Gold is trading at $3,319.24 an ounce. The rand is at 18.68 to the dollar, 24.87 to the pound, 21.23 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $67.14 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays reported on the M2 West, that's between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road, while travelling in four ways. Delays on Winnie Mandela Drive between Witkoppen Road and the N1 exit in the city of Tshwane. I'm seeing a slight backup reported on the N1 South approaching Sefako Makgato.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng. The temperatures have peaked at highs between 24 and 25 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Education Department in Gauteng believes that a fire at a high school in Rivoli started in an unused classroom.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Some say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Well, sometimes it gets the grease, sometimes it gets replaced. Generic guidance only fits a few situations. That's why Momentum accredited financial advisors take the time to understand you and only then apply their expertise. Advice meets your context. Momentum, your journey to success. Momentum is part of Momentum Group Limited, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
702.
Live
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Six after 11. Clement is not here. It's Thabo instead. Freedom Day in South Africa, 28th of April. Of course, the actual day was yesterday, but because it fell on a Sunday, Monday becomes a holiday, and that's why you're at home chilling or going on a picnic right now, driving there, or it could be that you're going to take it easy and have a braai at home. I'm excited for you, and I hope that this day pans out so well. Welcome to it. You're on 702. I'm glad to be with you. We touched on a number of things a little bit earlier on, but now I've got a question to you. Are you an older sibling at home? Are you the older one? Are you a deputy parent? Is that how things were when you were growing up? And did you commit some sacrifices where there things that you could have done, but you decided, no, man, there's no money at home, so I'd rather look after my younger siblings. I'd rather sacrifice going to school in order for my younger brother to enjoy a little bit of money that would have gone to my res, that would have gone to my tuition, books, and other expenses. And did you have to take some financial responsibility for your younger siblings? And now it turns out that they're not as appreciative or they're nonchalant about it. They move on. Yes, thank you. You did what you had to do, whatever. And you feel that somehow they're indebted to you. You don't want to vocalize it. You did not do it for them to worship at your altar every single day. That's not the reason why you did it. You did it because you had to. It was your duty. It was your obligation. But now that you've done it, you still don't want them to come and, kneel at your feet and kiss your feet and pour oil on your feet or anything of the sort. But you want some bit of acknowledgement, right? You're just thinking, oh, I didn't go to school. I didn't do this. I could have had 4 cars. I could have had 2 farms, but I didn't. All for you. The least you could do is just acknowledge and come once in a while and say, bro, if it were not for you, I'd be nothing really, but thank you so much. Is that what you want? And how do you feel when they just move on and they don't even contribute at home? They don't touch base with you. You don't get the acknowledgement that you think you deserve. That's if you deserve it at all. What do you make of it? And it could be that you are a younger sibling and you're thinking, so why should I always worship you because you helped out? You did what you had to do, and if I was in your shoes, I was going to do the same thing. I didn't choose to be born second, third, or fourth. I was going to do exactly the same thing. You are an accident of history, so the cards have been played and laid down. Enjoy them and deal. So I'm worried because at times it leads to siblings' rivalry. It leads to tensions. It leads to unnecessary fights and acrimony where you look at each other in this way. And many times it's not vocalized up until that moment where there is a big fight and everyone is there and someone is bursting, emotions are venting, and you then stay away from each other for years in some instances. Are you in that situation? Or do you know of that situation? Let us know. 011-883-0702. That's what we're talking about right now on Family Matters.
702.
Family Matters.
10 after 11. And before I introduce our guest who's going to assist us so effectively with this issue, I just wanted to bring your attention to an email that we received to this effect, and that actually prompted this discussion. And I will then get to our clinical psychologist who's joining us on the line right now. But this is the email that we received that said, "Good morning, everyone." Of course, the person didn't know that it would be Thabo this morning. And they said, "Good morning, Clement." And they say, "My name is Samkelo from Zanspruit, now living in Fourways. I have 3 siblings, I have 3 siblings, and I'm the second born. And there are 4 of us, and our parents passed away a few years ago. I'm writing to you as I'm experiencing some things that weigh heavily in my heart. 3 of my siblings, including myself, have gone to study at university, different courses for different careers. We are now all working and quite successful in our careers. My problem started when the last born at home decided that she would not go to university and would not work, as she's a kept lady. She aspires to live the soft life and has since been unemployed since she matriculated. She lives only from the money we send her as siblings, and she has now started to demand it. She feels entitled to our money, saying that we are his siblings, and we know she does not work. We have a responsibility to take care of her. We have tried to look for jobs for her, and she has turned them all down or quit after some few weeks in some instances. We're getting tired of it now, and we've tried to address it, but she refuses to take responsibility for her life. What should we do? 011-883-0702. My guest, Dr. Leta Silamulela Musima, who's a clinical psychologist. Dr. Silamulela Musima, thanks for your time. Welcome to 702. Good morning.
Good morning, Tando. Thank you for inviting me, and I'm greeting all the listeners.
I don't want to sound like an acrimonious sibling, but it's Thabo, not Tando. So I don't want to be petty. I guess. Yeah. But my name is Thabo. Nonetheless, we move on, Doc. Doc, I just wanted to find out how widespread is this issue of siblings fighting and the older one taking responsibility, seeking validation and appreciation that is not often received?
Yeah, Thabo, this is a challenge, most families can recognize. It is very common We also experience it a lot in therapy where you find maybe siblings quietly stepping into a role of being a provider or a caregiver, carrying responsibilities far beyond, and obviously feeling, unrecognized or unappreciated, and these feelings unspoken, and also, they lead to people feeling guilty, resentment, stress. So most families definitely do go through that because of they are not voiced out and there are roles that were taken up silently, and it definitely led to, families feeling pressured, feeling overwhelmed, and a lot of unbalanced expectations. Maybe the younger sibling feeling that, they are entitled to such things that the older siblings are doing for them. So it is very common.
Who is the grudge directed at? Is it towards the parent mainly, or that particularly younger sibling who is now a beneficiary of the largesse that you are providing as an older sibling? And if it's both of them, how is it shared? Fairly so, 60-40 for 30-70?
Well, the grudge, it depends from which angle we are looking at. Most families, you find that the older siblings take up a role of being the provider, maybe because they've lost a parent. I've handled quite several cases where they've lost a parent and now they have to take up the parent role. The younger sibling, you find that the younger siblings is the one that receives the provision. So the grudge may be taken towards the younger sibling, and if the parents are still alive, it is shared. Like the older sibling might have a grudge if the parent also is not appreciative of what the older sibling is doing. The grudge might be faced towards the parent and the younger sibling.
Is it natural? And I'm wary of using the word natural, but is it palatable for a child to take care of a child, especially when you are in the same hierarchy or you fall under the same generation family-wise, because you are also a child at that point, and now this responsibility can be just overwhelming. How difficult is it to take it up, execute it, and towards the end not carry any feelings of resentment?
As you said, natural. It's normally not natural. Sometimes you find that the older sibling is forced, into a particular role by the circumstances. And I'm just going to give you an example of a real life situation. Obviously, I won't mention names, but a real story that happened. There was an 18-year-old. They lost their parent. They were 4 siblings, and they lost their mother, who was a single parent. So the older sibling, who was 18 years old, was forced to drop out after matric and start looking for a job so that she can support the younger siblings. And what happened, the younger sibling graduated, the second one as well, they graduated, they found jobs, while the older sibling only had matric. And after they found jobs, the older sibling was earning a lesser salary and sort of like became angry, became depressed. She even had suicidal, thoughts about her life that, I assisted these people so that afterwards they can carry me through. But that didn't happen. So she was forced into a role. She had to come up with ways of the family surviving. However, when they survived and did well in life, they did not look after her. So it was a first road. She did it because she had to do it. Otherwise, they were going to be hungry. But then after she carried out that role, the younger siblings didn't come through her. Yeah, so it happens quite a lot.
And that expectation, is it fair that now that you've helped, you want acknowledgement of sort, or it could be that you now need assistance yourself because a lot of your resources went into something that was not expected of you, and it drained you, and you find yourself in this difficult corner because of you trying to help?
Yeah, listen, Thabo, in healthy families, of course, when there are healthy relationships, you find that people do acknowledge your contribution, they affirm you, they appreciate you, and they are also able to support you. That happens in healthy family systems. But in unhealthy, dysfunctional family systems, you find that there's no acknowledgement, there's no confirmation, there's a lot of entitlement that it was your responsibility to provide basic needs for us, and you find the one who was giving, starts feeling resentment and doesn't really build healthy family systems. So what would help would be when the younger siblings acknowledges and appreciate and affirm the older sibling, and because of that also give support, as a form of appreciation that, you came through for us and now is your turn.
And if that perhaps support or that help is not reciprocated then or later, it can lead to disastrous outcomes, wherein one feels indebted to and wherein one feels that they could have been further in life had they not assisted. I'm wondering, to what extent will that affect a general family dynamic, not just a relationship between the two siblings, but other people as well, how they may be involved in a sense that they may be forced to take sides in this family feud?
Yeah, of course, in families where, there's no shared responsibility, there's no confirmation, the relationship is not healthy, you will definitely find that the relationship it's compromised in that sense. So tension will run high, and in that case, what I would suggest would be to involve a trusted mediator, a trusted counselor, so that they work through those tensions. Otherwise, you will find that they become more and more distant, and it will definitely affect their relationship going forward. So they will definitely need a neutral facilitator who can assist them to find a solution to keep the family dynamics, healthy family dynamics. But then if they leave the dysfunctional roles that they've taken up, they will go their distant ways and more tension will arise. So they will definitely become independent, distant. But in that instances, I would definitely encourage them to find a neutral facilitator who will help them, who will assist them in finding solutions and healthy ways of relating to one another.
Doc, let me invite our listeners to participate. It could be that some have got questions for you, and others would want to remain anonymous, and others would seek your guidance and your counsel on these complex issues that seem simple, but they're very, very complicated and sophisticated in nature. They can affect people's relationships for years and years on end. If you'd like to give us a call, ask Dr. Leta Silamulela Musima, who's a clinical psychologist assisting us on this complex issue today, a question. You are most welcome to do so on 011 883 0702. Alternatively, send a text message or a voice note to 072 702 1702. As I've said before, these matters are rather sensitive. It could be that you choose to remain anonymous. You don't want to share your name. You want to conceal your identity because you don't want to expose yourself for one reason or the other. you're most welcome to do that. And that's why we are having and tackling this issue today for you specifically. It could be that you are a younger sibling and your older sibling was assisting you, and they are now feeling too entitled, and you feel that I have done my bit to pay you back. I am helping you. When is it enough? Where is the limit? Do I now owe you for life? It could be that you're an older sibling, former deputy parent, and now your sibling is balling it and having champagnes, cars, houses, and you are living on the margins of poverty, and they don't care, as if your help is not acknowledged. 011 883 0702 or 072 702 1702.
Tibos, morning. First of six, I'm not expecting anything from anyone, my bro. I remember even the one that came after me, the second one, had to do the driver's license for him. I'm expecting nothing from them for as long as Bonabale sharp, I'm 100%. It was a hot money, and I had to carry myself so sakhrote for hele.
Yeah.
So everything I did was for the love of it, and so hot money for hele. Whatever they do for me now, ke bonus for me.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting anything from them. Good show, happy day, 702 lenders. Enjoy.
Morning, Thabo. Hope you well. First things first, Thabo. This family needs to acknowledge that as much as they meant well by trying to assist her, in an essence, they've enabled her to feel entitled. Right. The moment she took the decision that she's not going to do anything to upskill herself to try and really be in a position where she can look after herself, right there, she was showing them a middle finger, because she comes from a family where everybody would have done a little bit of what they can to improve their own lives. Who is she? Why does she believe she must just now be taken care of? She must not contribute to anything in this life. First thing they must do is they must stop helping her. Second, they must make her understand that she's responsible for her own self and not feel guilty about it. But more she, let me finish and try.
Yeah, that's rather complicated. I'll throw it over to Dr. Letasela Musima, clinical psychologist. But the first voice note, I really love that. No expectation. It's just amazing. I mean, I feel the very same way with my siblings, particularly my brother. He owes me nothing. Zero. But it's not everyone who feels that way, Doc. And at times, perhaps that feeling comes from legitimate need, that I'm now in need and I have nowhere to go. Over to you, Doc.
Yeah, that is quite powerful. Personally, I would say, obviously also as an expert, I would say to all those who have done sacrifices that have gone unnoticed or unappreciated, always know why you're doing what you're doing, Act with a very clear intention, because I believe that when you understand that, whatever that you do, it is based on purpose. You just wanted to, make a difference in your sibling's life. So don't look for validation because you wanted to make a difference in your siblings' life. I always say to my patients that nobody can hide light successfully, because light will always shine through. You cannot hide it. So when you step in to take a responsibility to make real impact, you have started a journey of being a great person. And then for those that fail to show appreciation, eventually it catches up with them. Because if you don't live a life of gratitude, you cannot be energized, you cannot be joyful. When you withhold appreciation, you will always carry bitterness and dissatisfaction. But to those that are doing it willingly and you know what you're doing, you want to make a difference in your siblings' life, continue doing it.
011-883-0702. Matuto from Centurion. Hi, Matuto. Welcome.
Hi, Thabo. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Matuto from Centurion. I am actually enjoying the conversation with the doctor. I wanted to ask Dr. Musima, with regards to, I understand the other aspects that she mentions about gratitude and purpose and understanding why one is helping the siblings. But my question really is the scenario that she gave us earlier of the siblings that the elder sister or sibling helped the younger ones. Is there recourse in terms of an official or proven steps that one can take to assist this one that feels that they have assisted, and eventually when the younger siblings are now self-sufficient and they're able to do things by themselves, the elder sibling is now feeling smaller, or they don't feel like they have achieved anything in life, and that leads to the suicidal behavior, to the depression. Doc, do you have any, even if it's 1, 2, 3 steps that you can, just share with us as listeners in terms of how to recuperate from that situation and how to build ourselves as elder siblings that have been in that condition or situation? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doc.
That is a very valuable question that you asked, and I'm sure there are people that are listening that are under the same circumstances. Well, in therapy, I've heard about like 3, so I've not really looked into the stats, in terms of South Africa per se. But how I dealt with the people is to help them find themselves again, live a life of purpose, starting to appreciate themselves, building their self-concept and, self-image so that they can start appreciating life, helping them find meaning for life, and taking them through a journey of forgiveness, because once you have not forgiven, obviously you cannot heal and accept, life as it is. But then once they healed and they have forgiven, what the younger siblings have done, and they have found purpose about life, you find that, they start flourishing again. They start living a meaningful life, and confidently making it in life, because once you don't forgive, it's like you're putting in poison for yourself, and definitely you might end up, even ending your life, because you also now starting to feel entitlement that I gave, they must give. But then once you start at looking at having meaning for your own life, starting all over and forgiving, you find that you live a pleasurable life, and you can even impact more life, not expecting anything back from other people.
29 minutes to 12 o'clock. Time for Eyewitness News headlines with Maki Mulapo. Maki, what's the latest? Good morning.
Thanks, Thabo. Good morning. The Education Department in Gauteng believes that a fire at a high school in Riverlea started in an unused classroom. The blaze, which destroyed a block of 11 classes, erupted in the evening yesterday. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona says they suspect that there were people on school premises at the time of the fire. The department believes that the fire began at an unused classroom. There's been mixed reaction to the Western Cape High Court order setting aside the VAT increase and the fiscal framework. Yesterday, the court ruled in favour of the DA and EFF's application, setting aside the fiscal framework adopted by Parliament earlier this month. The court order also suspended the VAT increase until Parliament adopts a legislation declaring the withdrawal of the VAT hike as an act of Parliament. And cooler temperatures have offered fire crews in the South Peninsula some respite this morning, but authorities are bracing for a change in wind conditions. Crews have been battling a mountain fire between Tokai and Mazenberg since yesterday. One firefighter is recovering in hospital after she was injured on a fire line in Hout Bay overnight. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by cars.co.za. Let's find what moves you.
In Bramley, there's been an accident on the M1 South. It happened right near the Grayston Drive off-ramp. It's causing massive queues coming out of Marlborough Drive. Please be on the lookout there and try to avoid, if possible, while traveling on the M2 West between the Crown Interchange and Main Reef Road. You still have got delays there. There's also queuing traffic along Main Reef Road towards the Fortsburg area, and then traveling in the Diepkloof area along the N1 North. We've got delays due to roadworks that are taking place right near the Diepkloof Interchange. Please be on the lookout there and drive with care. More updates at the top of the hour.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey, Jim, what's wrong? Hi, Bob. I'm just so confused. I'm trying to buy a car and I don't know where to stop. Well, have you tried to...
Gas.coza, gas.coza.
have you tried to...
Gas.coza.
Sorry, we're trying to do an advert.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to gas.coza and let's find what moves you. Gas.coza.
It all starts with advice from FNB Private. Because the perfect overseas trip starts with planning. Save and spend in multiple currencies with your FNB Global account and lock in exchange rates. Enjoy up to 40% off flights with eBucks Travel and order Forex on the FNB app delivered to you at no extra cost. Your adventure awaits. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TC's earn rules and limits apply.
South Africa, get ready to feel the pulse of the Hollywood Bets Durban July. Prepare for an exciting day of high fashion, thrilling horse racing and world-class entertainment. Watch this space for an incredible artist lineup announcement as we celebrate this year's magnificent theme, Marvels of Mzansi. Be a part of the buzz. Tickets are on sale now at Ticket Pro, Spar Pays on kiosks, and selected Sasol stores. See you on Saturday, the 5th of July at the Hollywood Bets Greyville Racecourse for Africa's greatest horse racing and social event.
April, May, hip hip hooray. Get ready to spin the wheel and win your share of up to 100,000 Rand in weekly prizes on Mr. D. All you have to do is shop 5 times across any of the stores on the Mr. D app. Every 5th shop, boom, it's 5 in the bag. Bonanza spin and a win time. And guess what? If you are a take a lot more subscriber, you get an extra spin to amp up your chances. So why wait? Start ordering today and make sure you bag those wins with Mr. D's 5 in the bag Bonanza.
This Freedom Month, 702 invites you to a soulful celebration of democracy and music. Join us for an exclusive afternoon of world-class live jazz, gourmet dining, and connection. Curated by Jazz and Beyond's Nothemba Madumo. Wednesday, 30th April, at the historic Sanctuary Mandela, Houghton. With performances by Fea Faku, Herbie Tswaedi, and Ziza Maftik. Plus a global concert live stream from Abu Dhabi. Celebrate the freedom of jazz on International Jazz Day with 702 and Jazz and Beyond. Powered by Omoda. Limited seats available. Book now at ticketmaster.co.za.
702.
Family Matters.
24 minutes to 12 o'clock. Clement is not here. It's Thabo in his stead. We're together till 12. This segment is called Family Matters on 702, and we have it every Monday between 11 and 12. Today, we are focusing on the burdens carried by older siblings, often referred to as deputy parents. Do they have a legitimate right to expect payment after assisting younger siblings? And do younger siblings have an obligation to acknowledge, thank, express gratitude towards older siblings after they've been helped? Because older siblings often sacrifice quite a lot. They forego their dreams, ambitions, and at times they don't even pursue life as they would have if there was no one coming after them who would need their assistance. They take on the role of a parent, unduly so. Right or wrong, it happens. So I would want to find out from you, have you found yourself in this situation? If so, how did you navigate around it? What did you do? Dr. Leta Silamulela Musima is clinical psychologist. She's with us to help us navigate these very complex, meandering roads that lead often to resentment, acrimony, and just disappointment. Feel free to join us on 011-883-0702. Alternatively, send a text message. It could be that you want to remain anonymous and send it to 072-702-1702.
Good morning, Thabo, your team, and my fellow listeners. Very, very, very interesting discussion. It has become a norm, especially in our Black society, where people feel entitled just because you did 1, 2, 3 for the next person. I think we call it the black tax. It is what I believe it is one's responsibility to help the person that is disadvantaged per se, and not expect a favor many years down the line. I hope you understand. Live and direct from Ikorle Lisibi.
Lisiba, thanks very much for that. I'll throw that question to Dr. Leta, but please couple that question with this inquiry, Dr. Leta. To what extent does a parent have responsibility of sitting down everyone, including siblings who've benefited and siblings who have assisted, down and say to them, listen, your brother was assisting. I could not help out as I ought to have. It was my responsibility as a parent. Your brother jumped in. And as a result, I truly believe that you need to acknowledge that. And what role does a parent have in mitigating those potentially horrendous outcomes by just sitting the kids down, Dr. Leta?
The role of a parent is very crucial in terms of bringing the family together and, helping them play their role, each role. Each and every family, they need to define their roles. So one of the most important roles for a parent is to bring about clear guidance to the children, because now when you find that there's no appreciation, there's no acknowledgement, there's no confirmation, there will be a lot of resentment, which prevents healthy relationship amongst the family members. So the role of the parent is very, very crucial, because in a way the older siblings took up the responsibility of the parent. There was role redefinition there. So by the parents stepping in and bringing the children closer again, it will definitely assist the family system as such. And also to answer one of the callers saying that there is no obligation in terms of asking for appreciation, that I did this and this and that. That psychologically speaking, that can create a lot of selfishness and a lot of resentment, a lot of stress within the family, because you find that where there are healthy relationships, it's a two-way. Any relationship is a give and take. So when it's only one person giving, and the person is not receiving anything, it will definitely strain that kind of a relationship. I understand that you don't give bread to expect bread back. But then if you're only giving and you are found among people that are not giving, they're only taking from you, you will definitely run dry, and there will definitely be resentment. So the receiving part might be in the form of gratitude, in the form of acknowledgement, and there must just be shared support, among the family members. So if maybe, for instance, you're pouring time, you're pouring money, or emotionally you're there for your family as an older sibling and you're not getting anything in return, it will definitely strain the relationship. So if the return can be just in the form of gratitude, the form of acknowledgement, that will create a healthy family system. And it will deal away with, being resentful and feeling exploited.
If, for instance, an older sibling is perhaps now married, be it a lady or a guy, whichever way, can that have complications in their relationship with their current spouse if they are continuing to help a younger sibling?
Yes, obviously when the person gets married, they are starting, another family, and there must just be open communication with your new family, like your partner, that this is what has been happening. And the older sibling also needs to explain to the younger sibling, that there will definitely be changes in terms of how I was relating with you. And the partner now that is getting married needs to explain to the partner. I mean, if the couple have the means to continue to assist, they may assist. And depending on how the assistance is going, as long as the assistance is not going to create dependence, because the email that you started reading as we started with the conversation, the younger sibling was now starting to feel entitled, and, you know, the help was sort of like creating a dependency mode. The person was starting to become dependent. So as long as that assistance is not creating dependence, and couple has the means to continue assisting and empowering the younger sibling to become independent, they can continue assisting that person, or find other ways in terms of how the younger sibling can be assisted so that they can also become independent. Because once people become independent, they are able to function by themselves. And that is all that, you know, people require to become independent and be able to do things for themselves.
072-702-1702. Your voice?
702.
Call us on 011 883 0702.
Let's hear from you. 15 minutes to 12 o'clock. My guest is Dr. Leta Silamulela, clinical psychologist, and we are discussing issues relating to siblings.
Good day, 702, and good day, Thabo. It's nice for our siblings afterwards to come and tell us that they didn't ask us to help them. We should have done this because now they've benefited. Their lives are now better, their families. But when one they call Hotman to 4 siblings, the same thing happened. When they get things better life, they forget about who helped them. It's not nice. Even a single small thing, they wouldn't help. You understand? It's nice afterwards, but when they needed help, hey, you call us all kinds of nice names, Hotman. But when everything is fine, now they have careers and all.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you to do that. That's what they say.
Aye. Dr. Silamulela Musima?
Yes. Definitely. As I said earlier on, that if, you know, the relationship is one-sided, it will definitely create challenges. People will feel burdened. People will feel that, you know, they're not being supported. So it's very important that as siblings or within the family system.
I think we've lost the good doctor there. Let's try to get it back. 011-883-0702. 011-883-0702. It's 15 minutes to 12, and we are on Family Matters feature. Today, looking specifically at the role of elder siblings trying to assist the younger ones, the sacrifice that they might have gone through. Perhaps the parents passed away and the older sibling decided to leave school, to go look for work, to fend for the family. And now that everything is fine, they're educated, they've left the nest, and they see the older sibling as just an enemy, as an irritant, as someone who is bugging them. 011-883-0702. Anonymous is giving us a shout. Anonymous, hi, welcome.
Hello, how are you?
I'm free. How are you, good sir?
Good. Actually, I would love to come on board on this topic, actually, because I'm looking at this situation whereby I understand a number of callers, they said they are not owed anything. I understand, but we also need to look at the situation on the other side, whereby some other elders or siblings, they sacrifice what it should have helped them. For the sake of, if I decide to go to school or to varsity and then let my siblings suffer, still that cycle of poverty will never change. So most people, they sacrifice their life to try to help their siblings. Because I'll give an example. Somehow, I'll say also within my family, we're coming from the smaller family, but the sacrifice that I went through and then forgetting about myself just to break that cycle of poverty, to help the siblings that are coming after me to go to varsity. I raised them from primary level up until high school to varsity, supporting them. And then now it comes to a point that at least they're working very, very well. They're earning everything that is right, can help them. They even fail to help the other family members. Actually, I'm not maybe saying that they should help me, but if you receive a token of gift, once your life becomes better, you should continue helping the other people. But now there's a thing, calling names, telling these people they fail, they choose this life and life in such a way. And for example, some other sisters, they sacrifice themselves, going for prostitutions and everything, not telling anyone, but trying to improve the level of life within the family. But later on, those one, after they graduated, they've got the life, they start calling those people names. So I think it will be best if we tell them to understand that if someone else sacrificed for you, you mustn't go in that certain extent when your life is better and then starting to look at them as their failure. Because if they didn't choose to sacrifice their life, you were not supposed to be there at all. So the only thing that we need to respect, even though maybe even within the family tree, we are not gifted equally. Some you can see that my younger brother or my younger sister is smart. Instead of me wasting money going to varsity and then I don't even perform very well, I rather take everything that I have. Instead of me buying a car and then moving up and down, let me invest on my younger brother or my sister or my cousin. At least they can improve the standard of living within the family.
Anonymous, apologies to interrupt you. I just wanted to ask you one question briefly.
Okay.
Did you experience this in your life?
Yes, I'm talking as that's why I picked to be an anonymous, because they are family members. Like I won't tell you like the standard of life that I'm currently living.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't expecting them to help me, but there's still a queue of people. Those are still seeking help on my side. While there are a number of people, those I lift them up, expecting that they will come and assist me. At least we change the life of the other people.
Are they capable to assist? Do they have the means? Do they have the resources?
They have the means. They have everything. It's the case that now they're sitting and starting to judge the other one that, those ones are like this because of this. But they don't even get closer in a manner that you can advise them, guys, let's try to change life like this. Let's do this and this. How can I help you? The only thing that they know is all about judging the other ones.
Thanks very much for that. Clearly, the wound is still gaping and it's still painful. Dr. Leta Silamolela.
So as I've shared that it's within a functional family system to honor each other's worth, contribution. Once it is one-sided, it creates psychological distress issues and sort of like breaks the family system. So it's very, very important that as families, we look into that, share each other's burdens fairly, checking on one another's well-being, A family like that can survive anything. As we shared that, it doesn't mean that I give you bread, you give me bread back, but that mutual support, mutual respect, gratitude, creates a safe space for family members to thrive and a safe space for family members to feel acknowledged, confirmed, so that they don't go out and look for confirmation, acknowledgement outside while they have their immediate family members.
011-883-0702. Let's go to the voice notes.
Us as older siblings, Thabo, being raised in those olden days, we took over when our parents were not there. We automatically took over without being asked. That's how we were raised during those days. But now it's true. Our siblings have greater careers these days. Amanandaba nathi thina nje thina singamaskoropo sihamba siyakoropa nje siyakoropa ikoropa nje imisebenzi. We don't even have proper careers. Thabo, let's leave it there. Help me be anonymous.
Yeah, I mean that's serious pain coming through someone who has experienced all of that. And I our previous voice note, he mentions that you feel like a used piece of rag that wipes the floor as an older sibling, and that's all that you are, and that's how you are perceived by those that you have helped. Clearly, there's quite a lot that is going out there, and if you'd like to give us a call, you are most welcome to do so on 011-883-0702, 011-883-0702. Alternatively, you can send us a voice note or a text message to 072-702-1702. Speaking of which, a text message says, I think it's our responsibility to look for one another disregarding whether the parents are around or not. It's part of who we are, and that's what we should do. Whether we benefit or not, it's our responsibility. Another text message, Thabo, what a topic. I suppose it's human nature which goes beyond the siblings, but even the parental issue as well. This is deep and painful. Wish those in this situation and pain would heal quickly. 011-883-0702. Dr. Leta Silamulela Musima is clinical psychologist, and she is my guest as we're getting closer to the tail end of this discussion. We've had a chat about pain, and we've touched on the disgruntlement of older siblings. Could it be that there is an unfair burden that is placed on younger ones? Could it be that at times younger ones feel, Dr. Silamulela Musima, that they have done their bit as well, and at some point the debt needs to reach the ceiling where you say, I've paid back, I have done my bit, now let me go, let me fly on my own? Before you answer that one, let me quickly squeeze in a call because we only have 2 minutes left. Obakeng in Jabulani. Hi, Obakeng. Obakeng.
Hi, Thabo. How are you?
I'm free. How's it going, Obi?
Right, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. The floor is yours. You have a few seconds only.
Fantastic. No, I just wanted to contribute that, when one helps, it should be wholeheartedly without expectation. Otherwise, don't help at all,
Yeah.
I'm the firstborn of many siblings behind me, and if and when I can assist, I do. To whatever limitation that may be, but I have no expectation thereafter because it is wholeheartedly, and it's my family and I love them, and if I want to do something, then I will do it, and if I can't, I can't. But there should be no expectations and no ties. It's unfair.
Obi, thanks for that. Thanks for that, Obi.
Thabo.
Really appreciate it. Dr. Leta?
Contribution. Of course, it depends on the level where you are. If you've already made it in life and then you are assisting, you can continue to assist and, say without an expectation. But there are cases where you find that, the cases that I've explained where people become even suicidal, that they have definitely, gave off, their dreams to become some things in life. They couldn't because they wanted to ensure that they spread on the table. And when now they've assisted and they are left with nothing, it becomes a challenge, and you cannot really overlook those kind of people. But of course, when you are assisting somebody, it's because of who you are.
Yeah.
It's definitely because of who you are. And you're not necessarily expecting the very same assistance, but that acknowledgement and confirmation, if it's not there, we will become a very greedy world.
Certainly. We have to leave it at that purely because of time. How do people reach you briefly, Dr. Leta Silamulela Musima?
They can contact me. I've got my social media handles at Leta Consulting. That's where you can find me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, all the social media. Thank you so much, Thabo.
Really appreciate your insights. 2 minutes to 12.
Live extra with Checkers and save with over 1,500 deals every week. Like Bacoma Wheat Bix, 900 grams or cornflake cereal, 1 kg, A2 for 99 Rand. Clover Butro full cream butter spread, 500 grams, 2 for 149 Rand. And Huggies Gold or Extra Care Jumbo Pack nappies or pants for 219.99 per pack. Valid until Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
702 and Absa Home Loans are bringing to light the property matters you want to know more about. This Wednesday, we're talking about building your own home rather than buying. So tune in to the masterclass with Relebohile Mabocha on 702 for an in-depth discussion about all you need to know before taking the decision to build your own home from scratch. The masterclass with Relebohile Mabocha this Wednesday, brought to you by Absa Home Loans on 702. Absa is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider, NCRCP 7. T's and C's apply.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton. Victory demands everything, but the journey is never solo. My team carves the way, data and innovation are my compass. This is how today's champions are made.
Drive your success and trade like a champion. CFI, a global leading broker now in South Africa. Access over 15,000 instruments, advanced trading tools, 24/7 support, and superior trading services. Visit cfi.trade today. CFI Financial is an authorized financial services provider.
CFI, empower yourself.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring FNB. Their CEO, Harry Killen, will be in conversation with Bongani Pingwa. Join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor 702. Let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
I'm Delane, PG Glass Technician. Got a chip? With our advanced tools and high-tech equipment, we can repair it.
World-class repair technology only at PG Glass. Visit pg.co.za.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. The Education Department in Gauteng believes that a fire at a high school in Rivoli started in an unused classroom. The blaze, which destroyed a block of 11 classes, erupted yesterday evening. No injuries have been reported and police are investigating the cause of the fire. Department spokesperson Steve Mabona says they will provide mobile classrooms.
So in this block we have about 11 classes, and out of the 11, one was utilized as a block of toilets for boys. So, and 4 classes we were using for grade 8 learners, which is about 230 learners that will be affected by this fire.
He says they suspect that there were people on school premises at the